Let's go.
What kind of car are we talking about?
Well, she's getting a 2023 Toyota Corolla XSE. It's sitting out front, the blue one.
Okay.
Tinted windows. It's a nice ride.
Seems like a fair deal.
That's what I said. I was like, dude, this is easy. So I don't know. But I did see, I don't want to, you've got two boys, right?
Two boys and an 11-year-old daughter.
11-year-old daughter. Your son, is it Ryder and Nick?
Ryder and Riley.
And one of them I seen, they both ride, right?
They both did. Ryder, the middle one, he still rides.
So I seen he posted a picture the other day, or you posted, one of the two, but he had the 23.
Oh, yeah, the new Alpine, or last year's Alpine Star gear.
Oh, man,
yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite sets of gear. Looks like a basketball jersey set up. So
I had to double take. I was like, man, that is sick. That's cool. So is he still riding regular?
Yeah, like we rode 2 weeks ago, but we haven't been able to run this fall or this spring series because for some reason they wanted to be part of a team sport and played lacrosse at high school, and
No way.
and they're both working. They're both lifeguards this summer, so
That's cool.
you know we're trying to get back in, keep riding, so we can run the fall series, and you know because obviously they're getting older and the time is less.
Well, they swam too for a little while.
Yeah, well, Ryder's still like we were at swim from 6 to 7:30 this morning.
No way.
So 3 days a week during the summer, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So he's swimming, he's racing, he's
Working.
That's a lot in itself.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot to keep up with.
Does he have time for social media?
He doesn't really care about it.
No.
It's my oldest that, you know, and he works plenty, and he's doing better, but we had an incident occur, you know, a few weeks ago with, you know, typical 16-year-old trying to get away with stuff. And luckily with Life 360, it makes it a whole lot harder these days for kids to, you know, because I like, what are you doing down here? Like, I know where you're at. Like, oh, we had to go get gas. I'm like, you left Louisville and didn't have gas to go downtown to eat dinner? Like,
Are you that close to downtown?
no.
Oh.
I mean, it's like 15 minutes away. It's, I mean, pretty close, but
You knew something was fishy.
yeah.
You hear that, Kate? It's not everybody is the crazy parent watching, right? Like, because I watch it too. Dana's really good about it. I told a story on the last podcast about so we're all, you know, tied into it. So we were speeding up.
I heard it. Yeah. I heard the story. And I mean, we've used that too. I mean, because
it's actually pretty accurate.
It is.
And like the time, like, because it was like,
you can see the updates pretty fast. And so we had that. My brother has an outdoor store in Statesville. So on Saturdays, my oldest Riley, he works at the store from 10 to 6.
You say outdoor?
Like it's called Roots Outdoor. They sell like North Face, Patagonia, skis, snowboards, and
Any
stuff
like
that.
hunting equipment? Like no. So it's like an outdoor apparel, like yeah,
kind of like a ski and tennis station in Winston, kind of like that, but not as big.
Gotcha.
So he goes there and works on Saturdays.
That's cool.
And of course, you know, he drives to 40, and I was on 40, and of course at 70 miles per hour on 40, and you know I'll look it up, see how fast he's going, and going 88 miles an hour, and I'm like, hey man, like you get a ticket, like you're done.
Yeah.
Like you're going on your insurance policy by yourself, and you probably won't be able to afford it.
He did race at one point though, didn't he?
He did like 2 seasons on like when he's on Honda 50s, and when it came to time to jump to a 65, like he wasn't about flying in the air, you know, 50, 60 feet. And whereas Ryder's like, let's do it.
Yeah. Still?
Oh yeah. Like he still sends it.
Any major injuries or anything?
Man, knock on wood, we've been blessed and hadn't had any injuries.
Has your daughter showed any interest in riding?
I tried to get her to ride. You know, took her out to the track several times, but she's too big into gymnastics. She's done that since she was 3, and this year was our 2nd year of competition gymnastics. So she's all about that. Now she made the middle school cheerleading team, but she'll be a 6th grader next year, and you know, not so excited about that, but we'll see how it goes because that seems like another drama club.
It's not that bad. Well, school cheer is tricky. You said she's 11?
Yes, 11. She'll be in 6th grade.
Okay, 6th grade.
Yeah, starting 6th
grade.
grade.
Middle school is not too bad. They're still young enough to where it's like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the drama don't really, for us, it didn't really start until like 10th grade, and then you see a little bit more of it. But yeah, I think it was more like like homecoming and stuff. Like there was like when they start really trying to gauge each other where they're at, I think that's where it really comes in. Like when Caitlin went to school cheer, it was like a whole thing, right? Like she was good, so she stood out. You'd think like for the most part that's a good thing, but then there's like a level of like she can't be too good, you know what I mean? So we would go to like the games and stuff, and she'd be sandbagging, you know. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, rip, like get after it. And she's just like, no, it's cool.
Just show off.
Yeah, I'm not trying to show off. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we pay that money for. Show it, get it. But so it was once she explained it to me, it was like, oh, okay, I get it, kind of, because that's tough. That's a tough conversation to have. Like, how do you tell them in the moment to chill out? Like, don't go all out.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I mean, probably not the only reason why she made it, but her tumbling skills are from doing travel gymnastics is probably above a lot of the girls on the team.
And I wonder how it compares to cheer. It's got to be close. Like she's going to. How many times does she go to gym during the week?
During the summer, it's Monday through Thursday from 8:30 to 12:30. So that's 4 hours a day, 12 hours.
Yeah, like that's a lot.
Yeah, that's 16 hours a week
for a somebody that's 11 or 12 years old.
It's a long day.
That's a part-time job. For kids.
She needs one to pay for it.
Cheer was crazy too. It was. It's interesting. So the racing thing. So you didn't.
Nah, we bought. I still have the Honda 50s that the boys had.
Yeah.
So I just put girly stickers on and gave her a number and name and went and bought all gear for her. And
did you ever do Cobras? Was that a thing?
Nah, we never did the Cobras. We did KTM.
I gotcha. That was I remember Cobras being like
They still are in the 50 world. Like they're a little faster than the KTMs. Yeah. The kids be killing it on those. Yeah. I mean, they do.
They're quick. So did you ever race? I don't know if I ever asked you.
No, I never raced. I raced go-karts. Yeah. But I never. I rode dirt bikes and used to go out to East Bend. So the guy that owns the track out there, I went to high school with him. Okay. So we got a pretty cool setup where I designed their banners, backdrops, all the awards that they do on PVC and whatnot. So
now, at one point you had a track at your house.
We still do.
Do you?
Yeah, we'll go out there and ride the pit bikes every now and then. But I keep it mowed now. It's a job, but yeah, we still got it.
So do you ride at all?
I'll ride the 110.
Yeah.
I mean, we go out there and ride at least, once every week or two.
I gotcha. But not like you're not breaking out a 250 or
450. Nah, I sold that and, can't afford to get hurt. So.
What about you had a car that you were working on forever?
It's still in my garage.
You still got it?
It's still got a 47 Ford pickup that's like that close to being done. And
being done?
Yeah, the motor's in there. Really just need to put like the oil lines, fuel lines, and get somebody to set up the clutch and all that kind of stuff. But
so you're close.
Yeah, but it's out of my wheelhouse now, really. I need to drop it off to let somebody else finish it up and button it up for me. But, I mean, it's 90% done.
How many years do you got in that thing?
I've had it for 12.
Yeah. I can remember seeing it where it was like you could just see the cab and then maybe like some metal laid out. And
oh, yeah. No, it's been and I've been blessed to be able to have, people that have helped me along the way that went to NASCAR tech school. And
I gotcha.
Of course, Spevco, I've used their facilities multiple times and their equipment. And so if it wasn't for that kind of stuff and people showing me, and I did a lot of research and, between message boards and gotten ideas and, but I was able to run it by somebody that knew more than me.
Got it.
And could oh, well, that's working. No, that's not going to work. And because I did it, I've done it a little different. It's channeled and notched, and I'm running drums on the front because I like the way they look compared to disc, but I got disc on the back because I still want it to stop, and having to figure out all the proportioning valves, and I went to art school, couldn't even change oil probably,
right. But it's got to look right. You know what I mean? So I hear you.
But it's painted, it's painted. The frame's gloss black. The cab's flat black. It's got a purple metal flake dash. I mean,
that's cool.
It looks cool sitting there.
Have you any graphics at all? Have you done?
No, I
opted out on wrapping it. Huh?
No wrap. I think I'm going to. I'm probably going to print something to put on the the interior
Yeah, the
ceiling
Yeah, yeah.
to kind of go with the purple flake. But yeah,
Just wanted to keep it.
everybody's asked me like, man, why didn't you wrap that? I'm like, well, I think paint still has its place,
Sure.
but
Well, it's kind of like the drum brakes, right?
yeah, and it's still, still to me it lasts. The lasting, like if I'd had a wrap on there for 12 years, like even though it'd been inside, I'm sure it has some age to it. Whereas
Sure.
the paint's still paint.
Has it been painted that long?
It's been painted for 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
I had a shop up in Elkin paint it for me.
But the chassis, I mean, you like the chassis was, you had to build a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I framed it all out, inside and out, and took it and everything, had it sandblasted because I was going for the rat rod thing because that was cool back then.
Right.
And after spending so much time and effort, I was like, man, like I want this thing to last. And so I took it to sandblaster and had everything sandblasted.
Yeah.
And then took it to Spevco and I sprayed the edge primer on it myself.
That's cool.
So it's a cool experience.
Yeah, I bet
I
so.
learned a lot, the amount of nights that I spent, working till 10, 11, 12, midnight,
Sure.
and I wouldn't trade it for anything
On that.
Yeah,
That's crazy. So Spevco, you still do stuff with Spevco?
we still do all their graphics,
Yeah.
installs.
Are they
and
doing
whatnot.
a lot?
They do. I mean, they keep us, not as big as some of our other clients, but, they're pretty,
I know at one
they're,
time
they're
that
still
was
pretty steady.
That was a big deal. I mean, the facility's sweet.
Oh, yeah. And it's still our only client that has AC.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I wish they were busy like 5 days a week, to tell you the truth. But
Well, it used to. I think like the top bays had it and the bottom bays didn't, or something. At one point, I remember there being a benefit to being up top or versus the bottom. Maybe the bottom was a fab shop or something.
they have a fab shop. A building's got the fab shop, and B building's got a paint shop, and then C building does like their refurbs and stuff like that.
I got you.
But years ago, I couldn't even tell you how long ago now, but they put ACs in all of them.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at. So can you hear that? Y'all hear that sound? The music? No. I can kill the music. What? It sounds like somebody's dragging their face across the mic.
Is it me? Is that it?
No?
I heard the music. That's all I heard.
Okay, maybe I'm hearing shit. I swear, I thought you were just rubbing your face down like this. That's all I could hear. I was like, what in the world are they doing over there? Oh, maybe Kate fell asleep on the mic for a minute. So that's what I started to tell you earlier. So Caitlin had she showed interest in this stuff, and it was like, okay, well, if it's something that you really want to do, like come in and sit in on one, like sit in and just check it out and see how it goes and understand the technical side of it. Cause one side, like me sitting here, this is such a small part of what's going on here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like me being able to hold like my attention and focus on somebody is really probably like, in the grand scheme of things, irrelevant. Like you could almost put a dog here or a monkey here and they could do it. But the rest of this shit is like, even while we were sitting here, like just kind of bullshitting, like Josh and her setting up
everything
cameras,
going.
making sure all the sound sounds right. And like he has his methods of doing stuff over there, So it's like, if you really want to do this, it's not just sitting here talking bullshitting to somebody. So I thought it'd be cool to have her sit in on it. And
Yeah, this is the easy part. I'm sure the behind the scenes and cutting and putting it all together and formatting it, like that's where the work comes in.
100%.
A whole lot more hours.
Well, and he was thorough about being on the front end, right? Like making sure that, all right, we need a space for it. We don't need to move stuff. Because initially that's what I wanted. I wanted to be mobile. I wanted to be able to just like show up anywhere and be able to do it. And he was like, dude, that's a nightmare. He's like, there's so many elements we can't control. Like
We can build you a trailer.
You hear that, Josh? We can build a trailer. But
I know some people.
yeah, no shit. Well, okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you about that. So I don't know that I know exactly where you started. I don't think we've ever actually talked about like
It's kind of interesting. I graduated in 2001 from East Carolina with communication arts degree with emphasis on graphic design. So I planned, only applied to one school through high school. I wanted to be a graphic designer. I have an uncle who has an advertising firm in Rocky Mount. Did an internship there in college and whatnot. And
So you knew a little, like you had a somewhat of a direction. You knew that,
I was-
like, if you did this, if you went and got your graphics degree, that you could go to work for him. And
Yeah, like I wanted to, design logos, brochures, magazine layouts, that kind of stuff is, what I went to school for. And September 11th happened, 2001. Ended up having to do some odd jobs. When I moved back home, applied for a job I saw for a company called Graphically Speaking, and started working there in like January of 2002. And her partner at the time, I can say names, right? No,
yeah, no,
was Craig Tharp.
I don't care.
And Craig's brother, Marty, owned Spevco.
Oh, okay.
So, I was doing graphic design. Things slowed down because, like I said, September 11th happened in 2001, and, everything kind of slowed down.
But Spevco back then wasn't what it is today, right? I mean,
It was pretty big then, but, they had their own graphics in-house. Mitch Miller, Gary Michaels, they ran that department. And actually, Christy was the creative director. She branched off, did her own company, which is who I started working for.
Got it.
Because I grew up in Yadkin County, and we'd go down Reynolda Road where Spevco's at, and I was always amazed when I went by there and saw these trailers out there. I was like, man, it'd be cool,
And it's massive, dude. I mean, they got that huge, like the lower and the upper.
It's a big campus.
Like when you drive by, it feels like a school or something. Like, you're like, what in the hell is that place?
And so, lucky, I guess, I started working for her, and the first things I did for any kind of vinyl was through there. Like, so Craig owned AHDRA, which is All Harley Drag Racing Association. And my first anything with vinyl was like doing 4x8, 3x6 banners. Like we'd get banner blanks, and Mitch and Gary would print the sponsor logos, and I'd go down there and apply the logos to banners.
So they had a graphics department at Spevco then?
They did.
And then
In-house.
it split up?
Well, I guess 2 or 3 years after I worked for Christy, I worked for her for a total of 5. And somewhere in there, Gary and Mitch left and went down to National Tour in Concord. They had moved from California to there, and they did, they were big in NASCAR, did the Sprint Glass House and a lot of NASCAR related stuff, DeWalt.
When you say they did stuff like marketing
programs,
yeah.
And, experiential stuff, building the trailers,
Yeah.
and, all kinds of exhibit-based kind of stuff. And so Spevco's equipment sat there kind of dormant for a year or two, and Craig bought the equipment from Marty, and his son Josh started running it. And since, we were connected with Craig and Christy, I started helping out doing designs for vehicles and, helping
Like
setting up
freelancing
files.
or something? Or?
No, we just did it, through her company.
I got
but,
you.
so they'd hire us out to do the design work and set up files and whatnot. And our first wrap we ever did was a van for AHDRA, and I helped set up the files, and we installed it, and it went pretty much downhill, like crooked as could be. It had a row of text that, and at that time, we didn't print horizontal panels. We did vertical panels.
Yeah.
And
What year was that?
I'm gonna guess like 2005, 2006.
What kind of machine were they using?
So this is where it gets funny. So, I can't remember what year it was exact, but Craig's son was running the equipment, and I would help him do design work and do installs, and that's kind of where I got started, with my hands on vinyl. I think it was 2006. AHDRA was at a race in Ohio, and Craig's son Josh got into an ATV accident and passed away.
Yeah, I remember
A couple
that.
weeks later, and
Were y'all buddies at that point?
yeah, like we were like best buds.
Really?
So it was pretty hard. Like I was there.
At the race?
I wasn't there at the race because I had stopped working the races in. So I did work for Craig on doing the race season, but I wasn't at this one because I'd stopped traveling, because I think it was about 3 years I traveled, 15 races a year from here to Vegas and loved it. But
But were you doing? You weren't doing just graphics when you were doing that.
no, I worked staging lanes and the starting line.
Really?
So like I would pair up bikes, and it was really fun. I loved it, but it wasn't.
They were a pro team too, right? Like they were.
They had all the big top fuel Harley guys that
Yeah.
they came and ran the series,
And you got into that deal by just doing the graphics, right? Like you were, yeah.
and because Craig owned it,
Right.
Marty owned it first, and Craig bought AHDRA from him, and he ran it, and like I said, bought the equipment from Marty, and his Josh
All
was
the
running
graphics equipment. He bought all that as well.
all that as well.
I got it.
So
Okay.
and that was called Right Quick Graphics at the time.
Well, and that was just upstairs at
That was
Spevco.
upstairs in C building.
Yeah,
So Josh passed away. I really, I didn't really want to be around there. And
Were you working there at the time?
at the time, yeah, because Christy, so, had upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
So graphically speaking, our offices were in the lower level of Spevco's building.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling Mitch and Gary. They were down still at National Tour in Concord, and took a job down there. So that's ended up going down there and working for about a year and a half, and it was good learning experience, like doing big stuff for
Did
big.
they just after when Josh passed away? They were just done.
It was just no. Well, Craig tried to run it for a while, and he did. He kept it going, but he couldn't find anybody that could do
Everything.
Yeah.
'Cause when you're trying to fill those positions, that's what you need them to do.
Yeah.
You
So
need to be able to design and set up and the whole, install but by then you were doing all that.
well, I was, but I was at National Tour, and I was there for just about almost 2 years. And on my way home from vacation, while I was at National Tour, the HR guy called me, and I got laid off. So, my first instinct's like, man, I just bought a house. Like, how am I going to pay these bills? Like, so I called Craig on the way home, like literally 5 minutes after the HR guy, told me this news, and it's like, hey man, I was like,
What were you let go for?
they had slowly went downhill.
Okay.
And,
So they just didn't have.
they didn't have the work.
Yeah,
I mean,
weren't
there
in a
was
position to.
days, man, where
I was gonna say because you're a pretty easygoing guy. No,
oh yeah, no, it wasn't because of anything I did. It's because the work just wasn't there.
Sure.
Like he lost a sprint deal.
Yeah.
And that was,
Sure.
I mean, it was more of that. He got lawsuits involved, and it was pretty rough for him. I think they ended up filing bankruptcy with that company. But so I called Craig, and it's like, hey man, like you still need some help around there. Like you just got laid off. Like he's like, I'm out of town right now, but come see me Tuesday when we get back in town. I was like, all right. So went and talked to him, and we worked something out, and I started the next day. So I was at Right Quick Graphics,
Right
which
Quick.
was in C building at Spevco.
Yeah. Was there anybody there? Like anybody?
No,
No, it was just
not
you.
at the time.
Yeah.
Craig was running the equipment himself, and so here I come in with my experience.
And that had to be somewhere around 2006, 2007, right?
It was.
Yeah, because I think that was the first time I went through there was with Fountain Brothers,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Roger and Chris.
Roger and Chris. That's where I met Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you were there when I first started coming there. But I
Probably.
remember like it was. I want to say it was a Gerber. I think there was like a.
We had a Gerber Edge. We had the Mamaki JV3,
Okay.
and the laminator. Which, so me and Craig worked something out. I worked for him for about 5 years, and it was great. And
Plenty of work.
plenty of work, in-house work. But then towards, I don't know, probably after I was there for about 3.5, 4 years, Spevco kind of slowed down. So we didn't have that in-house work as much because they went through a layoff time where they were down to pretty skimpy times.
They were building like crazy. Like I remember going and doing like the NHRA. There was it was a hauler that folded and opened up, and they had like simulators on both sides.
The funny car
the
simulators.
funny cars, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, it was the real deal. They're legit funny cars that you sat in, and they were full,
Shaked and
yeah,
made the
multi-axis,
noise.
yeah, the full deal. And then there was like, there was one I think they did for U.S. Army or something. It was like a big rock wall that.
Yeah. Army was a huge client for them
Yep.
back then. I mean, the amount of trailers and, activations that were done for Army was unreal.
And
Like,
but like interesting, like almost like pieces
Oh,
of
yeah.
like artwork, like the way that they figure out, like it was like essentially as a transformer.
oh yeah,
You know, like they would fold out to make this. They'd roll up in an 18-wheeler, and then all of a sudden you've got like a whole fair, like
Oh yeah,
just laid out.
they definitely kind of started that in the whole industry about building custom trailers that unfolded to whatever. I mean, if you go in their entranceway, I mean, the history of stuff that they've built for anywhere from Royal Caribbean to Panasonic. I mean, it's pretty neat the amount of stuff they've done.
So they've got a nice like front lobby where they kind of walk you through all.
Yeah, they've got a wall of haulers. So every time we do a hauler for them, like we make a model, and I mean
that's cool.
tons of haulers.
At Hendrick, they've got this wall that's nothing but like die cast of every car that's ever ran at Hendrick, you know? So there's like a time frame where it was like, you can look at it and you can say, okay, from this car to like down here, every single one of these cars we wrapped.
Right.
Like, like every time I see that wall, that's the first thing I do. I walk over and I'm like, 88, right here, we started here, and then we kind of stopped somewhere in here. It's pretty cool.
It is neat seeing the stuff you've done, and the amount of stickers we've stuck over the years is just
insane.
It is.
It's nuts. Even you think about, especially like places like Spevco, because they're all trailers. Well, not all trailers, but like the majority of it, you're going to wrap the outside of the trailer. Dude, they were pumping trailers through that place.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and it was some of it was sketchy because back then I remember I always tell a story about when I worked for Roger and Chris. It was like they paid me $150 a day to bust rivets all day. So we would show up and wrap a trailer in the parking lot, and it freight trailers, mostly freight trailers, but it was like they'd stick they'd stick panels ahead of me and
come behind them.
and bust rivets.
Pop and squeegee around.
Well, with a rivet brush.
Oh yeah.
Bang, 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 heat them up and rub them, and it's so. But when we got there, it was like, there was times that they would say, hey, man, the bays are full. If, you guys didn't finish it yesterday, you're going to finish it outside. And it was like, fuck, dude, this sucks, dude. This is rough. And now I'm sure it's not. I mean, you say you go over there and it's AC now, so it's like, probably awesome. But it was a rough time.
I went through plenty of rough times over there before they got the AC. And like I said, they're one of our only clients that even now have AC. So
yeah. Well, and that facility is just huge. Like, I'd hate to know what the power bill is for that place, because it's massive.
I've heard numbers. And
yeah. So the guys that owned it originally, are they still the same owners?
Yeah, Marty still owns it. Yeah. His son Ty's running it now pretty much. And,
I got you.
His brother Tucker's there also and involved. And actually, Craig, which is Marty's brother, he's still there and does a lot of engineering stuff. And I learned so much from that guy. He's super, super, super smart. Like, learn more about how stuff works, how to make stuff works. Like, we did some bass boat simulators for FLW, and like did 3 simulators where they sent us a half a boat.
I know what you're talking about. I wrapped them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like me and him built all those simulators.
Same ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we got the computers, built the base plate, drilled and tapped. I mean, I learned
all the actuators.
Yeah.
And
like I learned how to do all that. Like I would have to fly out to Arizona to fix one and take the, computer and figure out why it's not working. And like, I didn't go to school for any of this. Like this is all stuff he taught me. So
he's been there for a while too then.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we're still good buddies. Like I see him all the time when I go over there, but so I worked for him for about, like I said, 5 years. And towards the end of it, he wanted me to do more kind of sales stuff and try to get more business. And like, I had no experience doing sales and cold calling.
Business outside of.
Because Spevco was slowed down.
I got
it wasn't enough to keep us busy.
Yep.
And like I say, they went through a hard time, and they ended eventually going to other companies to do their graphics, even though we were in their building. So I thought about it for a while. So he's like, man, why don't you just buy this equipment and do it yourself? And I was like, nah, that's not really what I'm trying to do. And, I talked to my parents and other people about it, and they're like, oh, man, you ought to give it a shot. Like, you know what you're doing. You can do it all. You can design, print, install, laminate, trim, whatever. So about a month later, I went to talk to him and was like, hey, man, it's like, you still want to, sell this stuff? And he's like, yeah. And so I bought all the equipment that was Spevco's old equipment that, he ran, Josh ran, and then, I ran for him, and then bought it and ran it for myself for 5 years.
Yeah, that's risky. That 5-year mark always scares me at technology. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, it was like it. The machine definitely took some massaging, but I could.
I was gonna say, but it's different whenever you're running it.
It is, and it's a solvent machine, so you could buy new heads for that thing,
Yeah.
and I mean, I could take it apart and put it back together.
Right.
So I mean, it's like these machines now. You just throw the heads away and
Bolt on some new ones.
put some new ones in.
Yeah, the
and-
first time you got to pay a Roland Tech or a Epson Tech, HB Tech to come out, and you pay them $125 an hour, and you watch them unscrew this, pull it out, and put a new one in. It's like, yep, I just became a Roland Tech, just like
yeah. So I mean,
it is.
heads were $750 to $1,000, and it had 3 heads in it, and I knew how to do everything with the machine.
So is that so you bought the equipment, but that doesn't mean you get to still work there, right? Like,
No, so I stayed there for like a couple months, and then I found a buddy of mine had a company over off North Point Boulevard called Silent R Productions, and they
in
did
Winston.
in Winston.
Yeah.
And they did TV video production, but they had a whole open bay that they weren't using. So it's like, what can we work out? And so I ended up renting the bay from them for 3 years, and like it was great. I had my own list of clientele. I still did small stuff for Spevco here and there, but I got in with a lot of HVAC companies, and never did any advertising, but I always just stayed super busy between them, and didn't do a whole lot of like color change or stuff like that. I would do roofs and hoods and stuff for people occasionally, but it was definitely more on the commercial side that I did stuff for. And then
Did you ever at any point think about just installation?
a little bit, probably after.
Because it's pretty common in our area. I mean,
Yeah,
guys going out on their own and installing.
and it did while I was there at my own shop. Through one of my vendors, I got to go out to 3M to St. Paul and get certified.
Okay, I
And
remember
so
that. It
once
was
I got certified,
Chris, right? Chris was the one that pushed
Mm-hmm.
on it. Yeah.
so once I got certified and on their list, like I think 2 years later, I got a call from a company out of New York, and got in with doing ABC stores.
I remember that. I remember you
And
doing that.
it was probably one of the best install gigs that I had.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Oh, it'd have been. I mean, it's good. Across the board, that's a good.
travel, pay, hotels, and the work was always good, and they were paying more for installs than I could get down here just because they were giving me like New York rates.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. I loved having my own business for like 5 years, and I eventually got to where I just couldn't keep up. I did have a part-time and full-time employee for a little bit, and they helped with installs, and I taught him how to install. His name's Morgan Swain. He was awesome help for me at the time.
Does he still do it?
No, he's an IT guy now.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was great, and I'd met the guys from the print path during that time because I'd see them at Spevco
Sure.
or whatnot, and I always talked to them, and ended up giving Ernie a call. It's like, hey man, because he had talked to me before. He's like, you need to join us. You need to join us. And I was like, nah, man, I like doing my own thing, working my own hours.
Dude, I don't know what he does, but he is good at like luring in just top notch help. I mean, I haven't really looked into it, because he's all the way up there, like,
Right.
But over the years, like he's just worked with some. I mean, you start looking at the lineup of people that work there. It's like, dude, that's one heavy hitter after another after another. Like, damn, like how does he do that? You know what I mean? You don't have to tell me, but I'm just curious. Like as I think about it, like when I see it, like, golly,
I
man.
mean, they've taken good care of me. I mean, they've, I came in there, I guess 6-7 years ago or so now.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, me and Kevin Stewart were the 2 installers there, and it was a kind of rough time because one of our friends was an installer at one of our big clients, SME, Specialized Mobile Exhibits, and we came in there and they asked us to start doing all their installs, and
Somebody else was producing the graphics.
Print Paths was doing the graphics, and Jesse was doing the installs.
Oh, I gotcha.
And
Yeah, I remember that.
And so it didn't work out with them having contracted Jesse, and
Sure.
they wanted to go through the print path to do it all. So, we started doing the installs, and we've done their installs ever since, and done Spevcos, and, picked up more clients over the years. And so now, when I started, we had me and Kevin, and right now we've got, 6 full-time installers.
I will say this, though, as a contract installer, they take, that's me. I'm not saying this will happen, but I do see this happen a lot to where they kind of take for granted the individual. You know what I mean? Like they can push it off, and you kind of roll with the punches a little bit. Like, okay, yeah, he's a little late today, or maybe they didn't have graphics. So there's like this ebb and flow of like working with a company like that, and then they get this idea because we see it with them bringing in like in-house guys all the time. They're like, well, if we go in-house, we can control it. We can control everything, and it's like, you change. They're changing the game a little bit. You know what I mean? Like they start putting things in place and like locking in, like because a company's gonna hold. Like I'm sure the print path holds them accountable for shit. They're gonna say, hey, don't call us over here if it's not ready.
Yeah, I mean, we still sit around.
Do you?
Quite a bit,
Yeah, that sucks.
and it happens. I mean, they pay for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not sitting there for free.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, contractors, we will, and they'll expect it. You know what
and
I mean? It's
and
like
that's
you gotta
kind of
take it
where
on the chin. It sucks.
That's where it happened with Jesse. I mean, they'd call him at 4 o'clock. It's like, hey man, we need you here at 5:30 to stick decals till till it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Till it rolls out.
And he did that for a long time, and more power to him. And he just got kind of
burn out
on it. Yeah. I mean, when I'm not saying he got taken advantage of, but
well,
they get used to like, oh,
it's
Jesse's
an ebb and flow
here.
thing. Like I said, you're going. It's like a constant battle back and forth, and it's so hard to because you don't, from an installer standpoint, like you don't want to take advantage of them, but at the same time, it's like who's paying for this shit? Like who, you know what I mean? Like I'm missing my daughter's t-ball game, and I'm like, I'm here on the holidays, like.
Oh yeah, and when we were younger, it was not such a, not so terrible. But now that we're older and got kids, and like I say, ball games, cheerleading, like it's like I'm going to go over here to help them make some money, but I'm going to miss out on all the stuff that's important to me. Right? Like, man, why do I keep doing this?
It's like racing, right? Like you go and you're wrapping all this stuff for people that race, and it's like, well, what about me? Like I want to go race. I want to go race with my kids. I want to, like. Instead, I'm working all night wrapping somebody else's shit so they can go racing, and now my kid's not getting to go. Like,
oh yeah.
So does some of that I have to assume that's had a big part in why you wanted to go work with them.
It is. I mean, it's like there's still been late nights, and it's gotten better over the last few years where it's not as bad.
Yeah, it sounds like
not
you got
so many weekends.
Pretty solid installation team now.
We do, and basically, we've hired Jesse. Jesse's been with us for a year or so now, and so between.
As soon as I talked to him, like the day, like it was right in that transit. I'm like, how the hell how did Ernie get Jesse? What the fuck, man?
I'd called him over the years, several times. Like, hey man, like,
oh, you don't think I did?
Oh, I'm sure you did. He said, like, hey man, I got a good deal going over here. Got a company car, gas card, insurance. Like, it's working out really good for me. And he's like, nah, man. He's like, can't do it. And then out of the blue, like he called me.
Yeah.
He's like, is that job still on the table? I'm like, well, let me make a couple phone calls.
Like Aaron Rombold, y'all had Aaron for a while, right?
Aaron did. He stayed for a couple times, or been there a couple times, and he just kind of had living where he lived, and it was a lot of travel for him, and family, and other things got in the way. And,
sure.
So
yeah, I just seen he posted something the other night. Like he didn't post very often, but I got to thinking about him. Like I wondered if he was still installing. I ran across. He was at HMS Worldwide. He came down there and did a car, and we just happened to be there. And
one of the race cars.
One of the race cars, yeah. So I don't know what all he's doing now.
Yeah, not Kevin still keeps in touch with him.
Does he?
So yeah.
Yeah, is he still sticking?
He is.
Yeah.
I think they've got a little shop down there. I don't know exactly what the details are, but I know they've got a printer. And
Aaron does?
I don't know if it's his or the shop he's working for or kind of partner with or something, but he's doing good, I think.
I like Aaron, always have.
I did too.
He's a good dude.
We got along fine.
He was he did the RCR thing. I think I remember seeing it was like an old video of him wrapping a car, and it was funny because when I seen him, I'd bring it up. He was like, "Man, don't watch that video. Like it's You know, it's like it's so old, and like the way he was doing stuff was just funny. I've always enjoyed hanging out with Aaron and Jesse, both of them. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, I started hearing all those names up there, the print path. I'm like, what in the hell is going on up there?
Yeah, they've got we got a lot of heavy hitters that keep us busy. I mean, we don't
as far as customers,
customer wise, and they don't do any advertising. You know, I've never done any advertising, and we stay that busy by word of mouth and referrals. And
sure.
you know, between SME and Spevco, and we picked up another client, I guess 2 or 3 years ago now, called Mission Mobile Medical out of Greensboro.
Oh, a similar thing though, right? Like a similar, like they're building out stuff.
They get mostly used RVs, gut them, turn them into mobile medical units.
Got it.
Real cool deal. I think last year we did 56 units for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, so that's a lot of RVs, a lot of stickers, and more power to those people that do the one-off color changes. Because, like, after watching the couple podcasts, I'm like, man, like, it is cool. I mean, the end product's cool, but man, like, I could care less about taking door handles and mirrors off.
You know, it's funny because like you're on that, you know, you're building a custom hot rod.
Right, and I still can
it's in you.
I still do. Like when we do vehicles, I still got to take door panels off and take door handles off. But I had all the time we do. I guess it was a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago. I was taking a 2022 Chevy, full size pickup. Took the door handles off, shut the door handles.
And you hear,
and I'm like, So that was about a $450 lesson I learned. Had to take it to the dealership, and they had to get the doors back open.
Did you figure out how to do it?
Oh yeah, YouTube the video. Now I know that you turn the thing back, and it's fine.
Yeah,
but
there's a guy on the Wrap Society. He just printed these like plugs for it, so like it
stays in.
Yeah, it stays in there, and you lock it in place.
So that's what these people taking apart. Like he's talking about Jeremy Connor earlier. Yeah. Like I've seen him in his videos take apart a Porsche, and I'm like, I'm not taking a Porsche apart for nothing.
Lamborghinis, like Bugattis.
I'm not touching it. Like I did some vehicles for Flo Lexus in Winston, and it was one of the owner's daughter's sons were getting a used car. I mean, I think it was thing didn't even have 10,000 miles on it. He's getting a Lexus SUV for his 16th birthday, and he wanted it gloss orange, and it was beautiful black wheels, black interior. I'm like, you want to turn this?
Why the hell would you want to wrap that?
Like, this thing is beautiful. Like, so they called me up, and I was like, yeah, I was at North Point at the time, and I was like, but I'm not touching. Like, you need to send somebody over here to take the door handles off, the mirrors off, and so they sent their body shop guys over there to take it all apart for me, but I know how to do it all, and like I say.
But like the custom part of it, like there was never a part of you that was like, I mean, like you got tattoos, you're building a hot rod. Like
I like it, but we get paid by the square foot.
That's right.
Like I can do 2 panels on a hauler, and there goes your whole color change.
Right,
and you got a whole week in that color change for $2,400 or $35. Like, nah, I ain't got time for that.
I hear you. It is tough. I mean,
I like it.
Me too. I like it because it's the low cost of entry. Like I see it a lot. Like I talked about it a lot on the last one about the hustle and how like people like I like the fact that guys can just go start a business tomorrow. They can order a roll of cheetah wrap and get them a squeegee and a knife and a torch and go to town.
Oh yeah, I mean the last guy I was talking about out of high school got wrapped his Dodge
dart
his dart and wrapped the hood and roof and
I like that, dude.
Said he never measured a panel in his life, and I'm like, man, if I don't measure things 5 times, but I came from that side where it's got to be straight, and
and that's another thing. Like you came in on the commercial side, and I think a lot of I hate to even put us in the older generation, but like this new generation of color change people, like that's not on their radar at all. None of that registers. Like they're not even thinking about measuring shit, nothing.
Like there's a local shop in Winston, and when I was started with the print path, it was just me and Kevin, and we quickly grew, and like, hey man, like we need more help. Like me and Kevin can't do all this. And ended up getting a girl named Sarah Young, she's still with me, my little sidekick, and
Yeah.
you know,
I've heard you reference her a few times.
she's awesome. You know, she's about 5 foot tall, but you know, can do about most anything.
Yeah.
And she went to Forsyth Tech has a 2-year program, and basically it's kind of like intro to graphic design, but like her senior project was doing a install from design, print, and installing it.
Really?
So Forsyth Tech does have a pretty cool program for that.
Well, Justin asked me about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
If like local school, I didn't realize Forsyth Tech.
Forsyth Tech does. So yeah,
So how does that work as far as like the teachers over there they can't know anything about
They
rapid
do.
cars? Really?
they do.
No
Believe it
way.
or not, like her professor, actually did stuff on the side,
No
and
shit.
so she ended up getting hooked up. It was kind of crazy. She,
Is he still there?
I think so.
Dude, you might have to hook us up with him. I'd love to sit down and talk, kind of hear his, because
How they
that's
do it?
awesome. Yeah, because that's all. Like, how cool is that?
Oh, I know. Like she,
I went to college and I felt like I had to cheat around the system to like learn what I need. Because when you went to school, it's offset printing. They taught you
yeah.
how to do a magazine or like.
and that's all I learned was offset printing.
That's it. Yeah. So, but like for them, like to think back then, if you could have went to school for
I think they even had the machines at the school
the
that
printers
you
and
used.
everything,
Yeah.
no chance, dude. How cool is that?
So yeah,
In Forsyth, Forsyth
Forsyth
County.
Tech.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
2-year program.
Yeah, find out. Ask her to, if she don't mind. I might even give her a tank stand. I don't know.
Yeah, nah,
We can work it out.
nah. Like I said, she ain't be no problem. I'll get you his info. But
Yeah, that would be awesome because that's cool. I like that.
so
So she went to the program.
joined the program, and it's kind of coincidental. Her fiance's brother is the landscape guy over at SME, and when she graduated, he's like, "You ought to go hit up this place called SME and see if they're
They
hiring
wrap all kinds of
installers."
stuff.
And she went over there, talked to Kurt, and Kurt's like, "Well, we don't actually do it. Print Path does all of ours." And so she called the Print Path, and we gave her a chance, and I guess we're pushing 3+ years, and like I say, she got it going.
Yeah. How cool is that? See, I don't get that lucky. I don't get those.
We hadn't got that lucky again. We tried. It was kind of coincidental on this too. So I was picking up my daughter from gym one day, and I pull in, and there's a fully custom wrapped Dodge truck, and this guy out of Virginia.
It's like a color change thing.
No, it was a company vehicle. I mean, it was
okay.
it was a wrap company vehicle.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was done perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it
can
was,
say badass. There's nothing wrong. with
it was badass. And so I was waiting for my daughter to get done, and I saw him come out to his vehicle, and I was like, went up and talked to him. I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "This your wrap?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You need a wrap?" I'm like, "No, I need an installer." He's like, "Really?" And his son had just got out of the military, and someone was working for him part time, but he lived in Winston. And I was like, does he have any experience? He's like, "Oh yeah, he can do a few things." And man, we gave this kid a chance. I think he lasted 3 weeks, and first person I ever had to let go.
No way.
I mean, it didn't work out.
That's
It
tough.
didn't have the.
So his dad owned the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that makes it tough in itself. You know what I mean? It's depending on how that relationship is, and
But he was getting tired. He'd go up there to Virginia and work Monday through Friday, then come back to Winston
Back
to
to
his
Winston.
girlfriend and hang out for the weekend. So
Yeah.
he was tired of traveling, so he was trying to find something. Like I said, but I gave him a flat panel to do on the side of a cabinet and
just struggled with it.
struggled.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I need somebody that can at least do a flat panel.
Sure.
I was like, I don't have time to teach you everything, because this time I already had Sarah, and she was, like I said, when she first started, she was green as could be, and basically gave her a squeegee. It's like, hey, you can stick stuff, but you're not going to touch an X-Acto knife or cut anything for a little while, and because as long as you don't cut it, I can more than likely fix it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And as long as you don't cut it or burn it, I can fix it.
Yeah, so she learned quick and caught on, and like I said, she's been great. But we got another new guy up there that's been there for a year or so, and he does a good job. But like my attention to detail, like it's more like in the color change world. Like I want things about perfect. Like I measure, if it's got text on it, I want it to be straight. Like I don't want it going uphill, downhill, a lot of people don't have that attention to detail.
Well, your customers expect it too. You know what I mean? Like you're not playing around with some small brands. I mean, you look at, you go into SME on any day, you may see, Coors Light,
Pepsi, Coke.
Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest brands in the world, they're not going to tolerate,
No.
junk.
Well, they don't, but at the same time, it's kind of crazy because, when stuff doesn't work out or we get it done, but they got to fix something in market, some of the stuff I've seen that's been done in market from New York to LA, like, I'm like, man, like y'all paid how much to have somebody do this?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
they hacked y'all stuff up and now I got to fix it when it comes back to
Yeah,
Winston.
and if it went out looking like, y'all would have never let it leave looking like
Yeah,
that.
like y'all let this guy leave and you paid him to do this. Like I'm gonna step down my level here because, like I'm not gonna keep working this hard.
They're gonna start paying more. One of the two.
So it's but yeah, I mean, doing the amount of work that we do, and I mean, it's definitely a lot of Fortune 500 companies and a lot of it.
A lot of people don't realize how many Fortune 500 companies come right out of North Carolina. Like their headquarters are out of Charlotte. I mean, you look at some of the biggest brands in the world are based right out of Charlotte.
And they between Spevco and SME, they work with a lot of big agencies, and a lot of these big agencies are where a lot of the work comes from in the experiential marketing world. Between going to festivals and I mean, it's grown so much. Like, and there's so much decal work out there. Like I said, I wouldn't want to do a color change to save my life. But
I wish, Josh, can you pull up Spevco and just see if we can get a couple pictures up? I want to see. I don't know if they've updated their website, but like just because I don't think a lot of people will even know. Like, because when you look at an exhibit, earlier you said activation, right?
Right.
That it's a common term that they use around the mobile marketing stuff now. But like, if you've never seen like a full blown setup where it's like, they've got tables out there. You're wrapping the tables. You're wrapping everything. I mean, you've got banners running the length of the trailer. You've got pop ups on top. Every single square inch of everything is getting covered.
Oh yeah.
All your edges. Like it's pretty wild.
Yeah, they've got a big program now they've been doing for several years called B Pro, and it's a 53-foot double expandable trailer, and we literally do the inside and outside.
Like you look at that, like
all the pod walls.
Down, like there's like 4 or 5 trailers right there with that 50 years of craftsmanship or whatever, or all exclusive, all that stuff it's like that's a lot. Yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah, that's the shell trailer. We did that. Actually, that's the old graphics, but
and that parking lot looks small because it's full. But I mean, these are full 53-foot trailers.
Yeah, that's just the upper lot. I mean, down there's the bigger lot, and then they got the side lot. But I mean, it's they've definitely I think they've been doing it for 30 years now.
Right.
So I mean,
well, even I think at one point they put like a statue out front. It's like a big globe with a rocket or something.
Yeah, they still have it out there.
Yeah.
The rocket's still out front.
Yeah, that's cool. But it's just wild. Like I said, for me and you, I mean, we've both been there. We've been around this stuff. But like, you figure, like even the banner around the base, like, somebody had to do that. They had to put grommets in. They had to hem it up. They had to prepare it, the awning, all that stuff.
So that's what Print Path now. I mean, we're pretty much do all that in house.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got probably six people that cut and sew. We do all the fabric in house, all the skirts that go around it.
Yeah,
we do the
cool.
custom tents. I mean, we do a lot of stuff.
Are they pretty active on social? I don't even know if I follow them on social.
A little bit. We've got a girl there now that has been doing a lot more.
You almost
stuff.
have to. Even I mean, for you guys, you don't really have to market or anything, but still, you need to have some sort of presence.
Yeah, we do. And like I said, they've been trying to work on it. I think they're rebranding the website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've been working on it, but
yeah. I did want to ask you about when you went to 3M, because you drove HHR for a little while.
Yes.
And it was blacked out, right? Like it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't wrapped though.
No.
No.
I thought you wrapped it.
No, that's another crazy story. So I was at Spevco. This is when I had my shop off North Point, and I went over there to cut some metal for some signs, and had my little 4x8 trailer hooked to the back. Hopped in the car, missed a couple phone calls, got on the phone, backing up, wasn't even thinking, jackknifed the side of the trailer into the car. And so
The HHR?
in the HHR.
Yeah.
And so I called insurance, filed a claim, and actually the same guy that painted my 47 Ford ended up painting the whole car with hot rod flat black.
Yep.
And I put cut decals and stuff like that on it. But, you know, like I say, I love wraps, but, you know, that hot rod flat black paint holds up way better than a wrap. I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of the.
But it costs, you know, like, you know, it costs more probably.
Sure.
But it's, like I say, I'm definitely a wrap guy, but like I said, I think paint still has its place.
Sure.
You know, obviously solid color, you know, like I couldn't afford to do the designs and stuff like airbrush and all that kind of stuff, but I think paint will still always have its place. But as far as like commercial and custom and doing 500 colors on the side of a car or some of these custom wraps, like nobody can afford to do that paint anymore.
But when you went and took your certification, they had HHRs then, right?
Yeah, we did HHRs.
That thing sucked.
But it wasn't that bad. But I was pretty versed when I went up there, like already and doing stuff like that. So
I was not ready for it when I got there. I thought I was.
Really?
Yeah, it was tough.
And I didn't have any problem with it.
They had the old ice cube design. Was that the one that you did? Like a soda pop thing?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
They do the where like the mosaic rough wall where you had to cut the joints out and everything. Where'd you end up going? That's I didn't know.
It was the old install facility now at St. Paul.
At St. Paul. Okay.
Yeah.
But you did go to St. Paul.
I did.
Yeah. How'd you like that?
It was a cool experience. Like I say, I definitely recommend that to people. You know, I mean, I say I learned some stuff, but like I say by that time I was already pretty versed in most. I picked up some tricks and stuff like that, but like I was like the first one that got done. You know, with the final exam or the final installs and stuff like that. And so it was like I said, it definitely led being on their website as a installer. Like it led to me to one of my biggest clients I had.
Well, if you've seen the other podcasts, there's been a little bit of that, and it's a thing, right? Like there's a whole conversation about it in the industry about certified versus not certified. Like the pros and cons, and I don't. People think I have I don't care one way or another. I'm just more curious.
I mean, they're doing for them not to be certified. I mean, obviously they're still crushing it,
right?
I mean, and if they're self-taught, like, because I was self-taught. Like I was showed how to do stuff and whatnot. But as far as like the first wraps I did, like me and Gary, we were figuring it out when we started doing car wraps. I mean, they had done haulers and stuff like that. And even then, nobody was wrapping like the tractor is part of the haulers back then.
Right.
It was just spot decals on the doors and the sides and whatnot.
But even then, like in the race, I felt like I was fortunate to be around the racing space because you had some tolerance. You know what I mean? Like when we first started doing it, they were like, "Oh, well, that's a wrap. It's almost expected. Like it's going to happen." Because half the industry was still like diehard painters. That just did decaling, and then there was another like open-minded group that was like, "This might work."
Right.
So I think that helped me a ton. Where it was like we had some of that forgiveness. Nowadays, you got zero. You better bring your A game, or you're not going to last.
Wow, there's enough people out there doing it now that are doing quality work. Like I said, this shopping in Winston that all they do is color changes. They'll do a custom print every now and then, but I called them like trying to hire their guy. Like, hey man, like I see y'all are doing like some awesome like work. Zero interest in doing commercial work. They're in the car scene, and that's what they want to do.
You know the name of the company?
Camel City Wraps.
Camel City? Mm-hmm. Oh, like RJ Reynolds, like the camel.
Well, yeah, that's just what their name is.
But it's in Winston, right?
It is.
Yeah. So I was just wondering where the camel came from. I'm assuming.
It's for Winston. Yeah. And the kids do awesome, and they do high end cars, and they've got in with some of the dealerships. I've seen where they do like the blackouts, mm-hmm. From the windows up on vehicles that are brand new for them to put out
Tuxedos.
There. Yeah. And I've done some of those too, but I don't like cutting on a brand new vehicle very much.
Sure.
So I'll stick to my square footage on the side of a hauler.
And rip. Yeah, I don't blame you. Knifeless though, man. Going back and doing like the so when we tested, knifeless wasn't even a thing. Like I don't remember.
It was when I did.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I think, yeah, we went up to Trim USA when Jeremy came.
Oh, that's right.
And did that
Yep.
knifeless thing. So
Yep.
I think it was.
I forgot you were there.
I
That's
think
right.
it was after that I went to St. Paul. Maybe. Yeah, I know it was. It was after that.
Was it?
Because I printed those wraps then for them for the training class.
For the training
And
class.
they tried to make us do that whole thing with knifeless.
Yep. It was like purple and like it was their
All the horses, and I
Yeah.
used their glitz and glitter
glitz.
laminate.
Yep. I remember that. Dang, I forgot about that. 'Cause me and when Jeremy brought it, we were talking, and he's he doesn't mind reminding me that I took his knifeless class regularly. He did like, just remember, son. You know, it's not quite like that, but it feels that way when he says it. Like, I know, Jeremy, you were here long before I was. Like, we're not, but his talking with him was interesting. Like the years of stuff that he's
He's done a lot of big stuff and traveled around, and you know he's done it up.
So the traveling stuff, like, was that team that you mentioned, the Harley stuff, was that the only team that you ever done that with?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't really have any interest in doing that.
No, because like I said, we worked for the organization to put the race on. So, you know, we didn't work for a specific team. When I did that, the traveling, and that my wife worked in the tech trailer and did sign up and memberships and stuff
Oh,
like
that's cool.
that.
I didn't realize that.
She did that for like 3 or 4 years, and she got tired of traveling too. And
I guess kids too. That probably.
yeah, we started having kids, and so of course she stayed home with them. And then when I went back to work with Craig after I was at national tour, I started traveling again because I was like, hey, it's like I don't mind doing it, but like it's got to be worthwhile.
Right.
And so at that point, I started doing. I always helped out with their marketing and stuff, from designing billboards, and did all their T-shirts and merchandising sales. So when I'd go to the racetrack, then after that, like I ran the merchandising side of it, from selling T-shirts, hats, all that kind of stuff, and designing them. And we'd hire a model to come in and work for the weekend selling
Yeah.
T-shirts, and it was a fun deal.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I like racing, so
And just traveling, people like, and it was still work, it's like, oh, you get to travel. I'm like, well, man, I fly out on Thursday. I'm at the racetrack all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then we fly back home on Monday. Like, I'm not like, it's work. Like, it's cool because we're at a racetrack and, it was enjoyable, but it's not like we went out, and we did every now and then, like on Sundays when we'd be in Seattle, got done at a decent time. We'd go down and check out stuff downtown, but, it was still, it was a cool experience getting to travel and somebody else paying for it.
all right. That makes it even better. Did you did your son travel much doing the dirt biking stuff?
We've been to Tennessee a few times, and mostly just around North Carolina.
Like Loretta Lynn's?
Nah, we've got friends that have emptied their bank accounts trying to go to Loretta Lynn's, but I actually got a friend, actually 2 friends of our locals just made it this year, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. You ever been?
No, I hadn't been.
No.
I'd like to go just to check it out. We've talked about going.
The experience. Yeah.
Just to see, because you got all your top amateurs there.
Yeah.
Like if you're anything in dirt bike racing, you're at Loretta's.
Yeah.
So it'd be a cool experience to go see.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be cool, and I'm not even really into to motocross like that, but I always thought it'd be awesome just to, because those dudes are racing for their life.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
man!
everything's on the
and,
line.
The parents on that side have sacrificed so much and spent so much money, and we've always kept it fun. Like I don't put any pressure on them to go out there, and I've seen dads, I've had friends that come back to the pits and yell at their kid because they should have done better, and I'm like, man, like we're here to have fun, like I understand there's a competition side, and I won't, not that I don't want my kid to win, but
Oh, for sure.
like, like
I never
he's a
thought
kid.
about that though. Like, so you didn't have any experience with it. How did you teach him? Like, where'd that come from? Like, did you have a resource, somebody you call on or something, or you just winged it?
Just winged it a
Yeah.
little bit, and took advice from other people, and
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, my middle kid Ryder, he picked up on it fast. I mean, and plus being fearless. Like I said, my older kid's like,
And I guess when they're young, that's what it really takes.
I'm
you
not
know?
jumping that far, but
Like, as long as you got the balls to do it,
And if
9 out of 10 kids aren't going to have that. So you're just going to stand out just because you're willing to twist the throttle.
To watch him now, I mean, like there's like I've never jumped stuff the size of stuff he's jumped.
Oh, I've seen
and
the
how
videos
far
you
he's jumped.
posted,
It's
dude.
like,
I don't see how you do it. I get nervous watching him do it, knowing it's your kid. I'm like, there's no way. Austin started racing go-karts last year, and it tears me up.
I mean, it's the same thing. I mean,
No, it's way different. Watching him launch off those things, like doing like a triple or something. What the?
It's
no way.
Yeah, no, and it's not so much them, especially when you're racing. You got to worry about who's beside you, or if they're if they cross jump and hit you, and if somebody went down after the jump. And like I said, we've had one little. He didn't get hurt, but we had a kid go down. We're on 50s, I think, and a kid went down. Or my kid went down and actually was getting up, and a friend of ours' kid hit that jump, and there was no flagging, and just ran smack into Ryder. And, and I'm sitting here, I start running over there, panicking, and he gets up like nothing's wrong. So, like I said, we've never, luckily, knock on wood, never had any injuries, and I've seen plenty of them out there. I mean, a few weeks ago, because I keep in touch with Travis, doing the awards and whatnot, since we hadn't been. I think we made 2 races this spring season, and but I think it may have been a month ago now. But I mean, they had like five people total get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the older guy broke his femur
in a weekend,
in one Saturday night.
Yeah, one Saturday race. Yeah.
So, but then like the past couple weekends, they haven't had any incidents. And they usually don't out there. It's once people get to that level, I mean, because you got your different class levels. You got your D class, which is the people who can't jump everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, usually when you're lining up, you know who you're racing with.
Sure. When we go to the 24-hour stuff, they'll put like a B or a C on the back and the front of the car, so when you run up on them, okay, I need to be careful here because this guy may be a loose cannon. Or so every once in a while, you'll catch one in your rear view, and you'll know they'll put like tint over the headlights for like certain classes and stuff too. You'll know that the guy behind you need to get the hell out of his way because he's about to rip by you. So same thing. What about training for graphics? I know you talked about it one time. You had an opportunity to do some training and decided not to.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think Print Path was approached by our local 3M rep at the time, Mark Simone. I think he's gone now, retired. And the 3M trailer came down to Charlotte, and I took a group down there and got them kind of the one-day training. And the guys at Print Path asked me, it's like, you got any interest in traveling and training? And it just I'm kind of like more about making money.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And not that I don't want to share my knowledge, and like I said, I've trained Sarah, told her basically everything that I know.
But it sounds like she's received it well.
Yeah, no, she's done great. Like I said, she's
It sounds like too she had some interest, because that makes a big difference too.
Oh, it's all she wanted to do. Like she wanted to be an installer.
Really?
Like she wanted to install graphics. So going through a 2-year program and then coming out and like, hey, this is what I want to do. Like
she may be a good one too to sit down, because that's rare to meet people like that just like I genuinely wanted to wrap cars. That's what I want to do.
Right. Like, see, I had no idea and no desire. I mean, didn't even know it was really a thing until like I started, and then realized like, hey, I'm not going to make enough money being a graphic designer. Like, what can this take me to? And,
sure.
It's been a blessing. I mean, I enjoy it. We work on something different every day.
Sure.
Different projects. Now, if I was doing fleet graphics for the same company on the same haulers day in and day out, like it wouldn't have worked out.
Oh yeah, I see him like. Did you ever meet Don Smith? He worked at Motorsports when Vamela bought him out.
I'm not sure.
Cool guy. He's a contractor now, but he came from Great Dane. I think he worked at like the Great Dane factory. So they like pull them in and like you do your little section and they pull it out. And the next one pulls.
I think that's what the Fountain Boys did.
Yeah.
For I think Matthews maybe or something down there, doing school buses and like I like doing something different. Like I couldn't do like even I mean, even if I did race cars every day, I don't think I could do that.
It's not too bad. It has its, you know, it gets
They just don't pay enough.
no. But I haven't really found anything that does, you know.
I mean, it's
Some of it, I shouldn't say that because there are things that pay what they're worth, but it's pretty rare. I mean, because nothing ever works out the way they say it's going to. You know what I mean?
yeah. I had that experience in the past 2 weeks. I got a client down in Atlanta or Charlotte that I do stuff for, and it was a glass etch window job, which I hate glass etch to begin with.
Yeah.
And so I priced it pretty high. They still want us to do it, and just install. And so me and Sarah went down there to do it. Get there, and they don't have everything ready, you know. And it's like, so now, you know, what should have been a 1 day trip. I mean, it was a $2,600 install, and it was a good day.
Yeah.
Like, should have got that done in a day, and I mean, it's a good
Come
payday.
back, yeah.
But, you know, now I had to take 2 trips to get it done because they didn't have all the graphics ready, and actually now it's going to be 3 trips because they still didn't have all the stuff ready last week.
What's the trip to Charlotte for you? What is that, an hour and a half or so?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But we make it worth our while because I'm charging them to drive down there.
Sure. But even that, like going back and having to have that conversation, like it sucks, man. It's tough because they have a number in their head that they budgeted for, and then
They never complain.
That's good.
I mean, so it's, you know, they understand that, you know, we're having to drive back down there, and because I felt bad, like, actually was it this week? Yeah, it was this week. We drove back down there to do it, and we did all these windows, but 2 of the doors. This is a brand new office building for a commercial company, and it had the push bars on the doors, but they wouldn't let me take them off. They wanted their guys to come take it off in case something got messed up. So I took those graphics home, the 2 doors with me. We literally pulled in the parking lot in Charlotte. I was like, dang it. I left them sitting in Louisville. So here I call, you know, the project manager, like, hey, man, I was like, we just pulled in. I was like, I left 2 of the glass etch panels sitting in Louisville. He's like, all right, man, I'll be there in a minute, and we'll see what we can do. Well, then he gets there, and we've got those 2 doors to do, and then 8 panels on a conference room. When he gets there, he's got 4 of the 8 panels.
were you running a strip or doing the full windows?
Full windows,
top to bottom.
And on the conference room, it was all the other ones were the MacTac Be-Free glass etch.
Which I like that stuff pretty good.
I can manage it, you know, with windows that have like the aluminum frame where you can kind of tack it,
Drop it in.
But the conference room.
Did they have any of that, like, because it was all interior windows? Did they have the rubber seal on them? Mm-hmm. They still had the rubber seal on them.
So we go back and trim that. But so the conference room, they wanted a design in, and you know, I told them, I was like, y'all can cut weed and mask. I was like, but I won't install that because I've had nightmares.
Oh, it's tough.
And
even with
these are like
even with the Be-Free stuff.
Even with the Be-Free,
yeah.
Just because being pre-masking on these windows, there's no. It's like a window bank, and they're floor to ceiling, and there's a panel, so they had to line up, had a design going through it, and so I was like, hey, you know, they really wanted something on there, so they printed white on clear control tack and laminated it, and it worked out, you know, good, but you could still see the bands from the printing. And
sure.
He's like, man, it's like, I don't know if they're gonna. This was their idea to do, not mine. Because I was like, y'all can get somebody else to do the custom cut, you know, weed and mask. I was like, I've had too many bad experiences with stuff that's, especially now, if it had the aluminum frame where I could recess it, you know, drop it in, it'd been different. But these, like, it was straight to the window.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, even like that's what I was thinking, like cutting them to fit, you know, like pre-cutting them, like measuring your windows out and pre-cutting them and just plug and play.
It's so hard though.
It is.
Yeah, and
it's a pain in the ass. I mean, frosted windows are a pain.
You know, if we were printing it and doing it, you know, ourselves, but we didn't print the graphics. This company was printing it, so
it was an install job only.
Install only.
Do you guys do that often?
For this client, I do because they pay really good.
Why wouldn't they let you guys produce the graphics?
Probably because they're marking it up and making it money on it. Because, like I said, I charged them a good amount to do their installs. And we did the dugout tops for the Kannapolis Cannonballers, and it was through them. And I used to do a whole lot for them down parking garages, windows, and the window perf. And but yeah, people like this glass edge.
They do.
And, you know, I've done a ton of it at UNCG. It is all 3M wet applied.
Yeah.
And as long as that stuff's cut to size, you know, I like that pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Well, and having a good tank setup makes a world of difference, dude. You get you a good, like,
Sprayer.
good sprayer and some good squeegees. But, you know, hell, we didn't come from that.
no,
You know,
like a
doing it.
wet install, like, you know, like nobody showed us how to do wet install. Like it was, you know,
Figure
figured
it
out.
Yep.
And so I did enjoy doing the wet install, but, you know, not too many people. I don't even know if they do that too much anymore.
What's that?
The wet install
Oh, yeah, frost. Yeah.
on the frost.
I mean, it does. So, I mean, if you take Be Free and Frost and set them side by side, the Frost generally looks just a little better.
does it?
Yeah, I think so. It just looks tighter, crisper. You know, the Be Free kind of has that haze to it a little bit. But as far as installation, you can't ask for anything. As far as in the Frost space, I don't think that they have a whole lot of area grass, you know, frost.
Nah, and the frost is it's kind of, you know, even still with the Be Free, like it's a one chance deal. Like if you got to pull that up, like because we
you're
had to
done.
pull like one up, and you know it.
Yeah.
There goes a rip.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fragile for sure. Are you doing any, I meant to ask you this earlier about the dirt bike stuff. Are you doing any of the graphics for that? I'm sure you
We do. I don't do a ton of them. I do a lot of friends and family.
But like your own? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
do? Yeah. Are you still designing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've seen one of my things. Actually, it was right when Ken Block passed. Like his liveries have always been a huge inspiration.
For
So
sure.
a lot of our like the graphics on I saw it, like the graphics on his bike now are designed off the Hunan Pegasus. They're pink and they got all the. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite ones. Definitely my kid's favorite that he's had. But
Yeah.
we've done a lot of takeoff from Ken's designs.
No, that's cool. So, I just found this out. Have you ever heard of Substance?
Mm-hmm.
You used any of their stuff? You
Don't
like,
tell nobody. man.
well, I like it,
Nah, that's awesome. Like, yeah, that's all.
and
we
I like the
use.
guys.
They're really cool guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like their adhesive and stuff. Like it's pretty impressive. Like,
Yeah.
and they're literally right up the street from you. Well, maybe not right up the street, but they're
They are.
yeah.
I mean, David Wooten, one of the owners of Print Pass, is real good buddies with
Oh, really?
the owner there. Like,
Yeah. I don't know if we met the owner or not, but I guess he's got to. I mean, there's only like 12 people that work there. Like, it's not a huge operation, but it's like it did.
everybody's like a lot of the big moto decal places.
Yeah.
They're using his stuff.
I know. I seen a thread the other day on Facebook where somebody was like, "What's the go-to film for dirt bikes?" And it was like substance. I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is a real thing. Like these guys are.
Yeah,
It's pretty wild."
their stuff's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed, man. Like we went up and toured the facility, and they've got like a 5-axis, like a racing sim up there. Like it's built out, like it's not. It's nice. Josh spent about 2 hours on it. He's like, I don't really care about the tour. Can I just hang
play
out on
games,
the? Yeah. But they've got a sick setup. Like it's like it has that Ken Block, like edgy graphics. Like even like, have you seen the building?
Mm-mm.
Dude, if you get a chance to go up there, go check it out. There's a guy up there. I think his name is Dan or Dave. Damn, I forgot his name, but
Matt and Kenny.
Matt and Kenny. But the guy that gave us the tour, the guy that we actually talked to, that brought us in. I want to say his name was Dave. Either way, he's a salesman up there, and so yeah, we just went by and they gave us a tour of the place, and they showed us like it's a fully operate, like they are manufacturing the film in North Carolina. That's wild, dude.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get into other markets and
Yeah,
do.
they got a lot of plans. Like,
Yeah,
I was kind of blown away. I'm gonna be honest. Like, first off, just to think that there's a film manufacturer in North Carolina. Yeah, like have you known about them for a while? Yeah.
Yeah, like we're in works with them to try some of their products on like trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because it's 3M. We're a 3M shop.
Yeah.
For the most part, and but obviously 3M just keeps going up on their prices like
Sure.
every 3 months. I think it seems like we get a
tough.
price increase email saying it's going up 5%. I'm like, we keep going up 5% every month. Like and we've talked to some other. The Arlon people came and gave us a bunch of sample rolls, and we tried their stuff, and it did good.
Yeah.
But still,
We just did a job for Orifel, and they had some interesting products. It's just like when 3M kind of sets the bar high, you know what I mean? And it's like they're in a position where they can kind of do that, where it's like, yeah, it's more expensive, but it's better.
It
so how
is.
do you?
And that's why we still I don't know that we'll ever switch.
It's tough
because between their 2080 line and all the colors they have.
Have you used 280 yet?
Hadn't.
Dude, it's unreal. It's like it don't even seem fair. Like,
but it's expensive too.
it's expensive. Everything they have is expensive, but it's like you can't compare it to anything else.
Really?
Yeah.
No, we haven't got our hands on any of it yet that I know of.
There's a new rep. His name is Foster. Have you met him?
I hadn't. They've talked about him.
He's cool.
Is he?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hit him up. Tell him you need a roll. I don't know. He'll give you a roll, but he might.
All right.
No, I would.
We'll try it.
I would. Dude, I'm telling you, it's just because like it's worth trying. But again, when you're doing race cars, I mean, they beat you up on price so hard. It's like, you know, you got to use something different. You know, you can't use that top high end premium film like that. But you know, when I see these guys that are just getting into it or starting, it's like, you know, if it was up to me, that I would be screaming like, "Hey, I want the high end stuff. I want to learn on something good."
Oh, yeah, because that's all I've ever used was 3M up until when I had my own shop. Like I ended up finding this distributor out in California, and I was getting Avery, and I loved Avery. Yeah. Like because 3M's
that initial low tack spoiled everybody.
Man, dude. Like you could move it around, like you know, even. Like, I'm sure you experienced some of the 3M stuff over the past year where, like, you just blow on it and it's stuck.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, like, this don't work.
I mean, just because I'm a 3M trainer doesn't change the fact that I see it. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's there. Like, we struggled with it.
Oh, yeah, and they gave us the batch numbers. Well, this batch is out of this number, so we're good now. Like, well, it's still acting the same way that those batch numbers did. And, you know.
I mean, it's a significant problem. I had to go up to St. Paul a couple months ago, and they gave us a full spread on, like, how to address these conversations.
Right.
Like, how, you know, these are the things that you need to make sure that everybody knows. And I think for the most part, I think that they have the right intentions. Like, they made a mistake.
Right.
Just so happens they made several mistakes at the same time.
It costs a lot of people a lot of money.
Right. And how do you rebound from that?
Right.
Know? So I had a conversation when I go and train in Tennessee. I train at School of Rap, and Molly, the guy that owns all that up there, he had suggested that we bring in Mark Bagley, and he's like head of marketing for global for 3M, and he's I'll do my best to try to explain, like, you know what I mean, but I'm not the guy that, like, I'm not going to. Well, no, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you and pull the paper out of my back pocket and be like, Chris, unfortunately, you know, I'm just not. I got to shoot you straight. Yeah, I have to. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine trying to give you a spiel on the marketing and like how the direction of the company and the focus is and all that. Like,
we got those emails and like, well, we tried this and like, well, it still doesn't work.
I say, Chris, I know it's sticky. It sucks. It's the first time in my career that I've we done a race car, and it was so sticky that I had to call TDS and tell them, like, I can't install this, dude. And if I do, it's going to look like shit. And I need y'all to clear it because I can't be held responsible for this. The time that it's going to take me to do this it's take me 3 days to do this, and I can't. Like, I even considered wet installing it at one point.
Well, that's what Kevin had such a problem. Kevin Stewart at our shop does a lot of pro bass boats, and you know, he'd be pulling that thing off, and it'd tack on the side of the boat. And he'd go to pop it off, and snap.
Yeah,
because it was so attached, and you know, he's not a guy who cusses, and I've definitely heard him cuss 3M a couple times now.
But I you know, and in my experience, whatever that phase was, it's kind of phased out.
Yeah, it's got better. I mean, it definitely has. I mean, and hopefully it'll just keep getting better. Because, you know, the 2080s, you know, whatever they do on the back of it, it's not the same as what they do on like CV3.
100%.
So, you know,
well, that was another big conversation was their new 2080 line. It changed, and they didn't tell anybody. And so, like, in the color change space, that's been a big. So you've got issues in the print world, and then they introduced, like, have you ever tried 175?
We have.
Yeah. 175 is pretty good. You know what I mean? It's not bad. Then they have issues with 180. Then they have issues with removal on stuff that's been on for longer than a year.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like things like started piling up to where it was like, okay, this is. I would have hated to have been a 3M rep over the last 8 months to a year. Like, they were getting beat up
And you know, we've had some warranty problems, and you know, like you send stuff in. I don't think we've ever had a warranty claim go through. I mean,
Really?
nothing against 3M because obviously we still use their stuff, but it's like wasting time to send the warranty claim
Well,
because they want to know the temperature, what time of day it was, what color underwear you had on,
Sure.
like all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like the stuff didn't work, like it failed, like we're using the same printer we've been using, like
Yeah, it would
it
be
delaminated or whatever.
it'd be different if it was like we know if it's an installation error. You can look at it, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can, even with, and y'all aren't using solvent printers, but even with solvent printers, you can pretty much tell that.
So I'm a solvent printer fan. I think it prints, it eats into the vinyl.
Oh,
so
it's rich, right?
Yeah, it's not like I can see where stuff would delam on a latex because
Me too.
it's floating on that top of the vinyl. So
It's funny though because you're an installer, I'm an installer. We prefer solvents if it's done right.
if it's aired out,
Yeah,
if
if
somebody
it's done right.
if it's printed and ran off straight to the laminator, like
Give me the latex. I'll take
just go ahead and put that back because I'm not sticking it for you.
Yeah.
Like because the ends are gonna curl up. I'm gonna be cussing you. Like it's not gonna work.
No, I get it. I don't. I love the way it looks, but man, if it gets nasty, dude, it's not worth it.
And the color matchability, like even when I had that Mamaki, like I could print something, and a year from now, if it got messed up, and I need to print a patch, like the color match like crazy. Like even on these brand new machines that we have at the print path, even printing the same thing on the same machine a week later, it's a different color.
Yeah, that's tough.
And our stuff, like, our new shop's 40,000 square feet, and it's climate controlled, like completely. Like we even have humidifiers in there if you need.
With the printer, yeah.
I mean everything. So.
And I think
it's,
it has to be that way for a latex machine. Like
Well, and then we got the direct to substrate, the big flatbeds and everything now too. So I mean but yeah, I mean it's like, man, this shouldn't be happening. Like but like I said, we don't have solvent machines just because between a lot of our clients, it's like they need it same day,
Turn
need
it out.
tomorrow. Like
Turn
you
it
don't
out.
have time to let this stuff air out for 24 hours and let it cure like you're supposed to with a solvent machine.
even with like SME and stuff, I figured that stuff would be planned out. Like you wouldn't have to turn and burn for those guys.
You're making jokes.
No, I'm being serious. No, I'm being serious. I thought they had they schedule that shit out and because they're big builds. Like they know that shit's coming. Not the case.
SME, you guys watching this?
I would just assume it was because some of these projects these are $1 million projects. I would think. I mean, you're looking.
Yeah. It's I mean, some of our clients are pretty planned out, and some of them are like we're doing an install there today that was printed at 4:00 yesterday.
Oof.
Yeah,
that's tough.
and it's it's in that world. It's not always on them. A lot of time it's you got to go to the agency to get approval, and this is the due date, and they give the client a little bit of leniency and we need to have artwork by Friday if we wanted to install by next Friday, and it gets pushed. Well, we're still waiting for the artwork, and then we need approval, and it trickles down to to us.
Especially for installers, you're the last point of contact. You're the low man on the totem pole. You gotta
Wait,
make it happen.
we do.
And I guess that's why PrintPath has been one of the reasons they've been so successful is having a group of people that can make that shit happen. Because
We don't like to see people fail.
Yeah.
And we will bend backwards to make stuff work, but it's got to be we're not going to get rich off of it, but we're going to make it where it's worth our while.
So I got a buddy of mine. He works for Gibbs now. I'm trying like hell to get him on here. Do you know Jason Flamer?
I don't.
Jason's been in the motorsports game for a while, and I've been on his ass because he's interesting. Dude. He's got some cool stories and just working in NASCAR. But I like the perspective. So a lot of the people we've had on so far, they're contractors, they're independent. So working for a company, I think that you've got a good perspective, and especially you because you've done. You worked for companies, you did the contracting thing, you owned your own company, now you're with the company. But I refer to him as a house cat. That's what. He calls me like a gypsy. You know, he's like, you just wander around with your little gypsy friends and doing your God knows what. Whoever caught, he's like, I just can't live like that. So I call him a house cat because he just perches up in the place and relaxes, and you know, it's all. But
Same place every day.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't do that either. Like, you know, between traveling around, like actually Wednesday, I drove down to Augusta and was doing a job for an indoor pickleball facility. And, you know, doing walls inside a facility, you know, and drove back Thursday.
how big was that? I've never been to a pickleball facility.
I'll have to show you pictures of it. It's pretty impressive.
What's the name of it?
Dinked, DINK''D.
Josh, can you see if you can pull that up? Let's check it out.
But it's brand new. Like they started building it out in March.
But it's a big thing. Like pickleball is turned into.
It's got 9 indoor courts. I mean, this place has a full kitchen, full bar. Like it's going to be. I mean, I got to talk to the guy, one of the partners. I'm like, I grew up playing tennis. Went to high school to play tennis, and
You were a tennis player?
I was, yeah.
Really?
Can you spell that out again?
DINK''D.
Oh, okay.
It's in Augusta, Georgia.
I get it.
So this building used to be a grocery store, and so the guy that built it completely I mean, you've seen it. It's like everything's brand new in this place. They chunked it up into like 4 sections, and so you've got this section that we're in, and then you've got another one right next to us that's the exact same thing. Well, he hasn't been able to rent them out. But he's got a pickleball court set up over there. Well, I keep seeing these things pop up everywhere, and like in the back of my head, I'm like, maybe he needs to.
This one in Augusta was a bilo that they built out, and like I said, I'll show you pictures when we get off. But it's pretty impressive. Like, and pickleball is just it's huge, but like I haven't been able to get behind it. I've played a few times, you know.
Yeah. So as a tennis player, like the conversion for you wasn't.
It looks rinky dink to me.
Do you still play tennis now?
No.
Why not? Just
don't have time.
okay. Any interest though? I mean, is it like you don't ever get that itch? Like for racing, like I can't help it. There's just times I gotta go. I just want to mash.
I'd rather go race. I'd rather get an open cart and go kart race again if I did something like that.
There's not any like good pictures. I don't think there's a picture of a warehouse.
I got you.
Of the warehouse, but it's not. There's nothing on it, and it's like super tiny.
You might just be able to Google indoor pickleball. It's been a thing. Like it's really blowing up.
Like this one's gonna be huge. Like
9 courts. I mean, that's pretty.
9 courts. Like I say, it's got a full kitchen, full bar. Got event spaces you can rent out. It's gonna have a pro shop in there. While we were there, the guys were there doing like the music, audio, video, and stuff. I mean, it's got a LED.
Here's one.
So this looks more like traditional, I doubt they got a bar in this place, but
So that's basically, I mean, I'll show you pictures, but that's kind of what theirs looks like, minus the fence. So
it's, I mean, it's
so
just
you can
like
get,
little tennis courts.
You can get 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court.
Okay, there you go.
And so they'll sell memberships, and you know, it'll be pretty good. They've got black lights, so you can do like glow in the dark nighttime pickleball, but like I said, I've played. The rules are totally different from tennis, you know. But I see all these big athletes are into it.
Yeah.
Like between the race community and even why is everybody into this?
Tom Brady. I seen a thing on Instagram where Tom Brady's like playing pickleball. I'm like, what in the world is?
And so in Louisville, we have a big tennis place, and literally it's been converted to pickleball.
Really?
And you go by there at 10, 11 o'clock at night, these people are still out there playing pickleball.
I wonder, is it, I never really played tennis, but is tennis a lot more athletic? Does it require a lot more movement and like?
I think so. You know, obviously the courts are smaller with pickleball, and you know, the paddle's smaller, and you got a ball with holes in it. So it's more ping pongish to me. But like I say, the rules are, I couldn't even tell you all the different rules, but it's a little different.
We went to Clemson. Caitlin's considering going to Clemson, and they had done the same thing. They can like, as we were driving by, Dana was like, "Oh, there's the tennis courts," and it's like, "No, that's like pickleball courts now. That's not even tennis courts." So it's cool though. I don't know what made me just think about this. So this week is WrapOn. Are you familiar with WrapOn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever been? No, have you ever competed or anything like that?
No, I'd like to after watching you guys.
Dude, it's fun.
I mean, I would like to go do some of those time things, and I've seen Jeremy do it, you know, through his social media over the years, and like it looks like it'd be fun.
Dude, it's cool. It's kind of cheesy at first because it's like from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, okay, that's not real life, you know. It's kind of, but it's still like, you know, you get 10 or 12 really good guys, and they all start piling up, around, you know, because they give out some pretty cool prizes and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, like especially for like the small. So like when you go to SEMA, they'll do like Hexus has one, Rap Glove has one, and then you'll go and you'll bounce like into like 3M, Arlon, like, you know, each individual place will have like a little contest that's not big. But this week at RapsCon, they do the Rap Olympics, and it's a team effort. You go in
2-man team,
2-man teams, yeah. They take 32 teams, and then I think you've got 12 stations, and then they give you 6 outside stations. And the outside stations are just like you go to the booth, and then they say, "Wrap this wheel, and we're gonna gauge it from 1 to 10." You know, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and these are like extra points that you can get to go towards your, you know, your overall score.
Right.
So you try to take advantage of all of them that you can. You know what I mean? But it weeds out. You can see, like, as you're watching the leaderboards, you can watch and see like the people that they didn't even get to the extra stations. You know what I mean? So it makes you focus on your time, right? Because like one of our strategies for the thing was like, okay, first year we went in was like gung ho, like
goes fast.
Do
everything we can do.
Just like because we want to get it all done and we want to get the bonus points. Like I think we ended up 5th or something. It was not good. It was just like we just worked ourselves to death, and like we forgot to eat. Like we were just so focused on trying to get it done, and it was rough. It was a rough experience. But last year we went with a lot more focused, a lot more systematic. We were prepared. You know, we went in and we're like okay, we don't even want to touch.
You had the jerseys and
everything.
Yeah,
we went in. I told Josh at the beginning of last year, I was like, okay, they do this rap party at SEMA every year, and they give out these awards. It's like, I want to win Rapper of the Year. So whatever I got to do that. So I'm like looking back at like people that had won it in the past. Like, what did they do that year that made them significant? You know, and it's like maybe they were a trainer. They you know, now they're training for a manufacturer. I'd done that. They went and won RapsCon. We didn't win, but I was there, and we'd done everything that we could to win. There's no way that you could do any more than what we did. I was bribing judges. I'm doing everything I can. I couldn't, even when they were judging, like, I tell this story too about Jim Miller. Jim Miller is kind of, you know, he's a big deal. He's been around. He's in Atlanta. They call him the Godfather, but you know, they're not checking his stuff the way they check my stuff.
I saw this the last.
Yeah.
Like, better check that.
Get down there and check that. Come on, check it. Yeah. Like, he don't get a pass because I don't get a pass. And you're not doing that. So, like, all that. Like, I felt like we were on it. I want, you know. So anyway, it's a cool experience because we did go all out, but then there's other guys that kind of feed off that energy. You know what I mean? And they're like, okay, you guys are going to bring it. Like, we're going to
step it up next time.
Yeah, we're going to step this up. So I've been seeing highlights this week from RapsCon. You know, Mad Monkey is Javier Cruz, and his partner is Damien. I can't think of Damien's last name, but he's from Argentina, and they're fucking good. They do not play around.
No, I've seen some of these guys from out of the country that, you know, I've seen some of Jeremy's videos when he goes to like Mexico and stuff, and like
they ain't no joke.
No, man.
You know what I mean? I mean, you get some average people like you would anywhere else, but then you watch those cream of the crop guys come in, and it's like, you better have your shit together. Yeah. It's cool. I get excited, you know. And
there's a lot of girls doing it now, too, that are pretty
last year,
pretty good.
I hate that I get in here and I forget people's last names, or I'm afraid I'm going to mess them up, but it's Erica Gar. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
She got the pink hair, purple hair.
Oh, yeah. Her handle is the Rap Kitty, so like she'll, you know, she plays into that, like some of her stickers, and like when you're I think last year at SEMA she gave out these like miniature knives that had like kitty paws on them and stuff, so she leans into that pretty good. But yeah, they essentially initially they won last year, and then there was like this big thing, like it was a whole mess, but yeah, so she's good. She's competitive. She got a good attitude. She goes in, keeps her head down, keeps her mouth shut. She's not loud. You know, I go in, I got a fucking jersey on, I'm slapping hands and kissing babies and making a scene out of it, and she just slides.
You say that, but they do the outfits.
They
they dress up like and have different themed outfits. It's
They
pretty
do.
dope.
It is, yeah, but it's subtle. It's not necessarily like a look
It is
at
not
me.
subtle.
It's subtle.
No, it's not. Dude, they were wearing Canadian tuxedos
Oh yeah,
the
like,
last day.
you're right. All right, that's fair.
And it was dope
and
as
she's
fuck.
and she's loud. You know what I mean? Like she does dress loud, but I don't know. I didn't feel like they were. It wasn't an attention grab, but I guess when you say it like that, it kind of was. They.
Are you? I'm not having this conversation
That's
with you
fair.
right now.
That's fair. I just didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like. I just felt like it was them being them. Like it. Like her partner, his name's Chris, and like he seems that way. Like it didn't surprise me to see him in a cowboy hat, and you know what I mean.
Right.
Like he's just that guy. So anyway, I just thought I didn't know if you'd ever tried it. I didn't know if you know.
I thought about it, and I'm sure the print pass would probably be open to letting us go do that one day.
I think it's dude. I think it's worth it. I think building relationships and meeting the community and like getting to hear their stuff. You know what I mean? Like just little things that people do that. It's kind of like I met this guy. He just came and took a class. His name was Chris. He I don't know if it's true or not, but he really feels like he was the first guy that ever did the embossment stuff. You know what I mean?
I like the underlay.
Yeah, the underlay wrapped over it, and he was even going in and doing like he would print. So you would put circles down, and then he would go back and print the rivet, and then line that up. You know what I mean? Like so, it was like a whole thing, like not just embossment, not just print, but like the two working together. And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, dang, that's
a lot of work.
A lot of work. A lot of work.
I like the Roller Pro. Just roll right over.
Yeah, make it look good. So there were a couple tools that we were talking about that you said that you had. I know we got talking about knife tucker and you guys liking that, and the blade cage, the tank stand.
We do.
But I know that there was a squeegee. Oh, it was a red one. That's right. You'd already showed me that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. Like tools are tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obviously I'll prefer like the Teflon squeegee with the thicker felt on the side that's already on there. I'm not a big fan of the like monkey tape or monkey tails, whatever it's called. To me that stuff just. Kevin's a big fan of it at our shop. That's all he uses. And I guess if you change it out enough, it's fine, but it doesn't work for me.
I gotcha.
Like I like those thicker ones, and I usually, I don't wet apply, but I'll soak my squeegee down with alcohol so it glides better. It doesn't scratch the vinyl and all that kind of stuff. And there's probably some wrap juices I've seen, but to me, spraying it with alcohol has always worked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, like especially on the ones, once I do it enough, the felt starts releasing a little bit from the adhesive getting so soft. But
As long as nobody lights up a cigarette.
yeah, yeah, no, that would be a bad day. Or get the torch too close to it because I'll even do the same thing when I have a wrap glove on if I'm doing like a wrap and I spray my fingers down with alcohol and the chance that flame got close and burn my fingers would be pretty bad.
We talked about
I've
that.
set my glove on fire a couple of times.
The worst.
Doing that. I just forget, you know.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, and you experience it a lot. We were talking more like bad installation circumstances, but like the places your three main customers, they're building this shit. So you're working in fab shops.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? So they're grinding and cutting and like, yeah, it's awesome that it's beautiful. It's a beautiful shop, clean floors for the most part. But they're building this stuff as you're wrapping it.
Yeah. They're, I've complained enough now that, they try not to do stuff around us, but another client we have in Harmony, SVSR, like they do mobile medical units also, but kind of like your guys were talking the other day, literally have somebody 6 feet away from you with a table saw,
right,
cutting stuff, and like, man, like the dust is going everywhere.
Well, so yeah, I didn't even think about that. So not only are they fabbing the outside, but they're building cabinets. They're doing all the upholstery work. They're doing electrical. You know what I mean? Like they're building these things out from the ground up. Like this isn't like a piecemeal deal. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is, I guess. Like we did that Airstream project. And you know what I mean? Some of that's, you kind of have like a base, like something that you're starting with, but everything else is, they gut it and.
Yeah, even those Airstreams, we've done well, I'm sure y'all done plenty too, but we've done a lot of Airstreams over there from being full wrapped and, doing a full wrap on an Airstream. I mean, it looks cool on paper, but when you try to get, we did one for Toys R Us back in the day for SME, and, it was all over design. And it's like, well, where are we going to,
It's got to kill somewhere.
Like, what are we going to do here?
Yeah. Well, the Coors Light Mountains.
Right.
Motherfuckers go all the way around that thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and it's like, we got to kill these somewhere. And they're like, nah, we won't. Full 360 mountains.
Yeah, when we first started doing the vehicles down there at Mission Mobile, one of their first designs on RV, and our guys in-house designed it. And, I told him, I called Brett's his name, one of our designers. We got about 3 full-time designers, and plus 2 of the owners also designed. But he designed this raft, man, and it connected all 4 sides on an RV. And it was, it was pain. I mean, we made it work, made it happen, and it ended up great. But I was like, do not ever do a design that wraps around all 4 sides of this RV. And so they,
Where do you start? I mean, and then they try to build in. So we did a Coors Light program with the Airstreams, or not the bubble Airstreams, but like the big bus ones. Same thing. And it was, all they wanted it wrapped all the way around. And it's like, if you look at a can, it doesn't wrap all the way around. Like they kill it, they fade it out into text, and then they fade it back out. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm sure that they could, but they don't.
Oh yeah, we just did one last week for SME for Mother's Cookies, and it was a, I think 30-foot trailer, and the design wrapped around all 4 sides.
And it's one thing if it's a stripe.
And
It's
it's cookies that lined up from
Exactly,
side to side,
yeah.
like animal cookies, and it all worked on 3 sides until I get, I was doing the front, the right panel lined up, good, made it work. Then I go to do the left one, and it doesn't work. So luckily I had the knifeless tape and extra panels and extra cookies, and
Make it work.
and nobody would ever notice.
Right. But you talk about when you were talking about designers, and there's a big difference between a good designer and a good setup guy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've met some really good designers, and I haven't met a whole lot of good setup guys. But boy, when you get one, you better hold on to them, because they can make an installer's life so much easier.
Yeah, and like I say, we've got several up there. Brett's one of our best ones. He he understands now that we've had conversations and even with Mission Mobile, they've started designing wraps that it'll be a solid color from the front, rail
Most
forward.
of your stuff is off site, right? Like you're going to their facility.
Yeah, I'm, our shop's in Hickory, North Carolina. I think I've probably been there maybe 6 to 10 days this whole year.
Oh shit.
They bring the graphics. We have drivers that bring the graphics to us, deliver it on site to
That's
wherever
nice.
we're at. And so, yeah, it's I wish I was up there more, because it's, like I say, it's climate controlled.
Oh, yeah, it's
nice.
nice.
You can eat off the floor. It's a brand new 40,000 square foot shop.
How does your install schedule work? How does that? Who does the?
Basically, between me, Jesse, and Sarah, we take care of everything on this side of North Carolina.
Okay.
So between SMEs, Pepco, and Mission Mobile, and our other clients.
Yeah. How do they plan it out though? How do they not overwhelm you on one job or overwhelm Jesse on another job? Do you guys?
We
have
split up a good bit. Jesse's been at Mission Mobile this week doing RV by himself. Me and Sarah have been at SME. I had to go to Augusta for this job, and but we use an app called Team Up, and basically put the jobs in there, assign it to somebody, and I do a lot of the scheduling for us and decide who's going to go where. And
That helps if you got somebody that has if you really need somebody in a position that has some sort of gauge, because if not, you're just guessing.
yeah, I kind of touch base with the project managers at SME, and I work with Donnie Wingo, who's an ex NASCAR crew chief down at Mission Mobile, and so he lets us know hey, I need this one done by here. When can you start on it? Just let me know. I'll have it ready, have the awnings off, and so we've got a good program going with them. And SME's kind of our wild card, because
That's wild. You wouldn't think that, dude, because they're such a big company and they're doing so much that you would think they got to have their shit dialed in.
it's definitely no, it's not.
It's painful. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, like on this job I just went and did in Augusta. They were going to try. It was for SME. The guy that owns the pickleball facility is buddies with Toby, and I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I was up in Hickory, and Kurt called at lunchtime. It's like, hey, do you have an installer that can go to Augusta tomorrow or Wednesday? It might have been Monday when I was up there. And I was like, man, you kidding? Like, it's Monday and you're trying to schedule something for Wednesday, Thursday? But, I mean, that's typical.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately.
But that's not SME, right?
Yeah,
I guess
it was through
is.
SME.
I gotcha.
Because, yeah. But we printed all the graphics and, in one of the walls I was doing, the LED wall, they ended up bringing the graphics to me. I think I got them like Tuesday about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and left the next morning to go down there and do it. And it was approved Tuesday. So we had to print, laminate it, and deliver it to me in Winston Tuesday to drive down Wednesday.
Yeah, people just don't realize what goes into doing this shit. They really don't. I mean, I'm saying outside of, even inside, I think, companies like that have been around long enough, they get it. They know that you got to have a team, a good team, and you got to take care of your guys. I mean, you wouldn't be there if you weren't being taken care of. You know what I mean? And you understand there's a certain amount of headache that if you're going to be in this industry, you're going to deal with, and you'd much rather deal with it with a good team than you would.
And they know that, if they'd have hired some local person down in Augusta, the chances of it,
to flip a coin.
yeah, like you might get somebody who knows what they're doing, or you might get somebody who's going to screw up, not show up on time, or whatever the case may be, do a hack job.
Yeah. I say that's kind of one of the good things about going to the shows too, is you meet some of those people and you can kind of network and you
Find
know what I
an
mean?
installer.
Yeah. Just kind of build your own list up, because even, I'd seen a post yesterday or last night that these guys were beating up the people on the 3M, on the.
I use the installer locator quite a bit to find installers for SME from, like say, from here to California, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. Yeah. Like they did I guess a couple of years ago, they're doing a college game day tour with Wendy's, and there was 2 panels that had to be changed out, like at every next school they went to. So like every week I was finding, a new installer, and some of them would do a good job, and some of them would, I'd tell them, what it was, the size. I really wouldn't tell them who it was for.
Yeah.
Told them it's going to be, the football stadium. Well, they'd show up, see it was for Wendy's, and the price went up.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's going to be more now since it's for Wendy's.
I need some of that burger money.
Yeah, it's like, man, I didn't know it was going to be a big job like this. Like, I just thought I was doing 2 panels on the side of a hauler.
Right.
So I've ran into that many times, and, especially with California. People in California, they want an arm and a leg. Like, I'm no lie, we've paid up to $10 a square foot for somebody to stick decals at, and then they do a hack job.
Their cost of living, man. Like, I don't see how people are surviving out there.
Vote Trump. Get rid of that.
I don't know if you can save it. I mean, it's just, have you been out to California in the last 5 years?
I've only been to Bakersfield and Pomona. I hadn't been to like LA or San Diego.
We went through LA and Long Beach last year for RapsCon, and it's a different world. I will say this, Compton catches a bad rep, like that area. Like, I'm sure that there's bad areas like anywhere else, but man, we cruised down through that. We were in like a 96 Civic, just pushing through Compton. It was great, dude. We had an awesome time. Like, it was fun. Like,
there's bad areas in Nashville.
Right, yeah. In North Carolina. Go to Winston. Winston's got them.
We've done a bunch of projects over in Nashville for SME over the years where they've rented out like Blake Shelton's bar for RJ Reynolds or Mountain Dew or whoever. And, like, I was surprised how dirty it was.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been to Vegas plenty of times, and Vegas is definitely a dirty little town.
Smells like pee everywhere.
And
it's only when the sun's up, though.
And and even like on that note, we went to Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade last November for Spevco, to a job for them for Macy's, and rented out one of their hospitality trailers.
Did you stay for the parade?
Man, we could have, but I didn't.
You're the
This year
worst.
This year we're staying. I told Steve, I'm like, man, like we're staying. Like, we had VIP passes, could have sat on the trailer and watched the entire parade. Oh yeah, man, believe me. But it was my wife and kids were at home, and they were already mad because they didn't get to go to New York, and
I got it.
so
That's our problem. Like I've always wanted to go. Like I think it's kind of sounds cheesy now because I'm an adult, but I still want to go.
no, I'm all about it this year when we go. But it wasn't bad. Like New York wasn't obviously New York, but I've been before in the summertime because one of the ABC clients that I did a lot of work for, like they had us all up there several times because that's where their headquarters is at. And I won't go to New York in the summertime.
Really?
Like it smells so bad.
Oh yeah.
Like just because there's so many homeless people and whatnot. And I mean, and
That's how the LA was though, dude. It was rough, dude. It was a different, like they take homeless stuff to a whole nother level. Like I don't even know that you would consider them homeless anymore because they have homes. They have like
a tent
or whatever. Like it's a community. It's a whole community. Like they're not looking. They're good. They don't want anything else. They're happy and they're doing their thing. And I seen a thing on Rogan yesterday where there's like people out there that are known, like at Venice Beach, they're known for being the homeless guy. And they have their like skit thing that they do. They've got like, there's a guy there that's famous that he's on roller skates and plays the guitar. And like, it's a thing. Like everybody knows who he is. Like he's the guy. We had one in Renman forever that was, I say one, like he was this type of person. Like he did like Elvis and like impressions, like, and he done it everywhere. Yeah, you'd see him out at the bar, and like everybody knew. Oh, that I can't remember his name. That was old Petey. You know, he's doing the Elvis thing. Like, and everybody knew that guy. And just like out there, like they've made that. Like it's wild, dude. It's a whole nother world. I don't understand it, but
yeah. No, me and Steve had to go down to Miami this year for a project for Coca-Cola, and stayed on South Beach.
Was it F1?
No, we didn't go for F1 this year. I wish we did last year, and that was.
Did you stay for the event for that one?
Man, we were there, but getting passes for F1 is like.
Oh, I know. We looked it up.
Like we stayed a couple years ago. We did IndyCar in Nashville, and we got passes to go to the race. And that was.
Yeah,
IndyCar is not F1.
Yeah, but it's reasonable. Like like the hotels are reasonable, the racing passes are reasonable, and you can get like good access. Like F1 though, man, jeez. Like we looked at all. Austin seems to be the most reasonable.
It's still crazy.
Oh, it's high. Like,
but we were there for F1 in Miami, doing stuff for the W Series at the time, and I think some view stuff for RJ Reynolds and.
Okay.
At the Hard Rock Hotel,
I got you.
And they did a big rent out and whatnot of one of the clubs, bars there, and it was a cool experience. I mean, getting to go, like, we didn't get to go through the pits, but we're in the hospitality area, and watching all the F1 team equipment come in and get dropped off, and the amount of money that's in that sport is.
And they cap
like
them.
It makes NASCAR look like your local go-kart track.
Oh yeah, they cap them now. I think it's like 400 million or something, or something.
It's next level.
They tell them, hey, look, stop spending money on that. You can't, And Ferrari or Red Bull 2 years ago went over. They got in trouble for going over.
I follow Red Bull. I mean, they're that Max Verstappen guy. I mean,
oh my God, he's a machine. It's ugly right now. I feel bad. Like. I like Lewis Hamilton. I'm
a fan of him too. I wish he'd get fast again. That was like he was back in what he had seven or eight titles or something.
He's leaving Mercedes at the end of this year.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to Ferrari. He thinks Ferrari's going to pan out over the next 4 years. I don't think he signed his contract for that long, but I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Ferrari too. I hate to see they're struggling, man. It's watching them like they're getting their brains beat in. Like they're used to, they were top 3 team, and now it's like they're lucky. They're playing in that space. They've got good drivers, but
Red Bull's got it on lock right now.
Dude, it's unreal.
I mean, they've got it figured out, man.
Destroying them. It's ugly.
I mean, the driving skill that guy has is just next level.
I seen this little clip the other day where he was there was a beaver on the track. And like he was just like, "There's a beaver," and it almost happened like instantly, like he didn't even think about it. Just like he just swerved around it and beaver on the track, and just kept
like it's nothing.
Like it wasn't even nothing. And I mean, he's running 200 miles an hour. Like to be able to just calmly just like notice a beaver, make an adjustment, and swerve. I get it. Like if you're running 30 or 40 miles an hour, like, yeah, sure. But your average person, people getting wrecks over shit like that. You know, he's doing it 200 miles an hour with a little, comic. I don't know. It's just, he's next level. He really is.
And I hope Ken's daughter, Leah Block, does big
me
things.
too,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know that she can make it to F1 just because that's a male-dominated sport, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing more and more where they're putting these programs together for females. Like they're pushing for it. Lewis Hamilton's pushing for it.
And like I said, the W Series we did stuff for, which is now their new, it's gone, and
Yeah.
now they have the new program. But it just, I don't know. I hope it does. I hope Leah does awesome, but
it's a reach. Well, any American, it's a reach. Like I think there's been 2
American drivers.
Yeah, that have like really
make it.
Yeah, that really made an impact, and that's you can't really like. I mean, sure, I'm sure there was a time frame where like Andretti's and stuff like they could have, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
they were in the right position, and you hear talks about Andretti now starting a F1 team. Like there's all sorts of shop talk right now about like, Chevy and Cadillac wanting to play in the F1 space, but even then, like just trying to get into the series isn't easy. No. Stuart Haas, they're an American-based team, but they're not in America. That whole team, that whole program is over there. It's not here. So it's like it's tough. Chuck Gafferty. I can't remember Chuck's last name. I'm telling you, as soon as I get in here, I can't remember anybody's last name. But we call him Chuck G. You probably know him. His shop was right across the street from ProCal. He's a fab shop. He's been there for years. He worked at Penske, HMSW. But anyway, he did a lot of like he owned a small fab shop where he would build out like small units. Nothing like SME or anything like
Right.
that. But like show car programs, stuff like that. Like small activations that those guys wouldn't even waste their time on. He was doing that for a while. But his son had a dream of going racing F1 and talent. Like he's won pretty much everything you can win in go-karts, and like he's really striving to go that route. And like I think it got to a point in racing where people have just like gave up on the dream of F1 racing. Like they get to this space where like he is right now, where he's a talented road racer. He grew up asphalt go-kart racing. Like he's got all the credentials. He's been to Italy and raced all the club racing. Like he's going and running Atlanta Motorsports Park, and he's doing stuff with
Skip
Barber. Like he's checked all the boxes. I mean they've put this kid in every situation to get seen, and it's like he's American.
Yeah, you got to have money.
Oh yeah,
Money's the main denominator, for these guys these days. Like I mean, that's how Ken Block got so good. I mean, he had deep pockets, and to start at the age that he started to do, rally racing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was killing it.
Yeah, 35.
And he still couldn't hang with the WRC guys.
No, not the pro guys.
No.
I mean, he did pretty good. He was an average, mid-pack racer, but
that wasn't. He's in his head, and he wanted to be
100%.
top guy.
Yeah, but I mean, even you look at people like Travis Pastrana when they're doing like rallycross and stuff. Like he's competitive, but you get some of these guys that have been doing it their whole life. It's tough. That's another one. I don't understand why rallycross never really got stuck in the United States. It's some of the best racing in the world. I'd rather watch that than anything else. Like good competitive rallycross racing, I don't think there's anything like it.
No. Well, it's because it's not side by side. Well, I mean, I guess some of the rallycross.
Yeah, rallycross
was.
Yeah.
They had the local or the series here in the States, but
that's the best, dude. They go like they're on gravel, dirt, asphalt, like they're door to door, short races.
They had the X Games things for a while,
Yeah.
and it was. I loved watching it.
Me too.
I've always been an X Games guy, but people just didn't.
It
didn't bite.
I know, it sucks. But like Ken Block, Jimmy Johnson, there's like 3 or 4 that I'll reference that didn't start their career until late. You know what I mean? And like for me, it's like I'm like, hell yeah, man. Like I think Colonel Sanders is another one. I think he was like 70 something when he started KFC. You know what I mean? Like you hear those stories and it's like, yeah,
Still a chance.
yeah, there's still a chance. I might have a fried chicken franchise before it's all said and done. But well, cool, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you came on. Glad you took the time. It was super helpful.
I'm proud of you guys. I mean, the Knife Tucker and what you got going on here and the podcast and I can't wait to see what comes out.
We're really just fucking off is all we're doing.
I mean, as long as you're having fun, man, it's a good deal.
No, it's cool.
Some of us are working hard. Okay.
Like some of it's for the kids, you know. I get excited about them being here and hanging out and getting to see it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's I think you got a good thing going here.
I mean, we'll see. Time will tell. I think I try to stay out of the comments. You know, you get on and you read some of the comments, and it's so far everything's been pretty good. You know, and you catch a little bit of flack here and there, but yeah, no, it's
Well, some of the rap forums that I'm groups in on Facebook and whatnot, like I see some people get ripped apart.
I know.
But then I'm like, sometimes they deserve it. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Like you posted this, like, did you not think you're gonna get ripped?
And I kind of, those are the ones that are getting ripped on. I'm kind of excited about talking to them, man. Like, because there takes a level of confidence to be able to just it's either confidence or stupidity, and either one, it's entertaining. So I'm interested.
I
in
like
it.
your rap reactions too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like shaking my head at some of these people. I'm like, what are they like? What are they doing?
Right. Like, I can't even believe they would post
Like,
it.
why? Yeah, why post this?
Why
Like,
share that?
like, man, like you did a horrible job, and you don't know what you're doing, and like,
I try to keep it as clean as I can without, because I get, like, I've been nervous to post stuff before. You know what I mean? Like, and you know,
has anybody like any of the videos you posted, has the poster like reached out to you and be like, take that down? Or
Nope.
No,
I've never.
Like,
I think. Not that I can think of. I mean, of course they'll comment, or I've had people like try to justify and explain, you know, what they've got going on. We had one. A guy he had posted a video showing off a glove, and he was showing him rubbing rivets with his glove on. And when I reacted to it, I was like, no, don't do that. That's not it. Quit doing that. Get your Roller Pro, roll them down. Like, I'm telling you, you're wasting so much time. He came back and he was like, no, I wasn't. He was like, when I posted that video, the order of operation, I took it out. I just was showing off that I had a new glove and how well it worked, and like I would never do the whole side of a trailer. And at first I was like, all right, sure. I mean, maybe that's, you know, maybe that's the case, but I just seen the video you posted, and that's not what you posted. Then he came back and posted another video of him rolling rivets down
with a Roller Pro.
With a Roller Pro, yeah. So it was like, okay, you're good. You know, like so you don't always know the intent of the video. Like sometimes that's hard to gauge, and so that's why I try not to grill them. I'd seen and I've talked about this too on the other podcast, but there was a guy that had posted on the Rap Society, and people just got on there and just torched him. I mean, like just ripped him to shreds. And this girl, Crystal, was from Candy Rap. She got on and she was just like, guys, y'all don't know, y'all don't have a fucking clue where was he? What was the circumstances? Like, you don't know anything. Like, shut up. And
Right.
she's pretty critical too. She doesn't pull any punches. But like that day, reading that, I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, you don't know, because I've done some pretty shy, you know, not shiesty, but like sketchy stuff. Like, you know, we were at Charlotte Motor Speedway one time, and I was with a guy. We went down to do a repair, and we had a ladder, but we didn't know that we were going to have to, you know how like they'll have like, you know, they've got those fold ups on top of the thing, right? So I brought a ladder big enough to get to the top of the trailer. I didn't bring a ladder to go up to the top side. Well, the trailer was locked, and it was leaving the next morning, so it had to get done. And the guy that was with me was like, we'll just, you know, put the ladder in the bed of the truck. And I'm like, we can't do that, dude. We can't do that. And like, so we ran out of options, so we put it in the back of the truck, and we were still just a little short, you know. And he was like, we'll just back the truck up, put it on top of the truck. I'm like, golly, man, we can't do that.
Yeah,
I mean, we did.
I've done some sketchy stuff.
You try not to, though. I mean, you do your best to try to.
Especially now where I'm older, I'm definitely like, you need to lift because I'm not getting up there.
For sure. Well, that's the benefits being a house cat. You can kind of put your paw down and say, listen, I'm not doing that. Y'all are going to have to come in and, you know.
Oh, yeah, I've done some containers down at the furniture market in High Point where I had like 2 scaffolds stacked on top of each other. And, you know, it's the metal tech, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, here I am putting ratchet straps on the attach points. So I'm like, as you get up there, it's like, oh my God. And you're going in and out of the corrugations of the container, and it's like,
you start squeegeeing, and you can like go with the. Josh was just telling me a story. He was out doing some textured stuff, and he was like, yeah, each time we'd move over, the bucket would swing, and we'd get a couple inches this way, and I'd go and swing this way, and get a couple this way, and yeah, you don't. It's not as good.
no.
We were on film one time. We were doing a time lapse for Hendrick, and you know, we're using the 6-foot Baker scaffolds, and we're doing from the rail down. You know, so we're just working 2 guys, top and bottom, doing each panel and rocking and rolling, not thinking about anything. And they came back and they were like, "Hey guys, like."
It's not OSHA certified.
All that ain't right. Like, where's your rails? Where's your harness? Where's your? And it's like, what are you like? If we had to do all that stuff, it would be. You could. I mean, it would take you forever.
We've had to. Yeah, I've been, done some jobs for some places where we've been called down from the contractor that's running the site and be like, "Hey man, like you don't have a harness on. You're like way up in the air, like
PPE. Where's your personal protection equipment?" It's like as soon as they start that shit, I'm like, golly.
Yeah, we've gone around Spevco every now and then with they want me to wear eye protection on the floor. I'm like, man, I've been doing this for 20 years and I ain't got anything in my eye yet. Like,
but it is a fab shop though. I mean, it's
if somebody's on the top grinding, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna stop working until he's done, or
go to the other side.
Like, I'm like, I'm not, I know when I need to wear something.
Yeah.
And I have I was telling somebody asked me the other day, and I was at SME, and because the guy's like, it was actually when we worked on the mother's trailer, they had a team from Utah that came in and did some of the interior work, and he's like, man, of course they had metal shavings all over the floor. He's like, man, I've got them in my knee, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty common. And I was like, even a few weeks ago, I was using one of the air guns and blowing off the trailer, and didn't have any eye protection on because typically I don't need it. And sure enough, man, blew something and blew a chunk of metal right in my eye. And I was like, I had to go through the sink and get it out. So, I mean, in 20 years, it's happened like twice.
Sure.
So,
Well, it's all like hindsight, right? Like, so it's like you go this whole time and you don't have any accidents, and then something happens, like it's like a lot of those metals, like they'll take and grind off the edges, and then you walk by and it scrapes your arm or something. It's like not the end of the world, but the right person sees it and they're like, oh, Kevlar sleeves. We got to get Kevlar sleeves in here. People are getting cut, So I'm surprised we've got away with a lot of stuff that we have over the years.
Yeah.
Some of it's pretty sketchy. But anyhow, thanks again. It was cool.
Yeah,
I want to do it again. I want to talk about future and where you're headed, and
definitely
maybe get into some more stories.
Bring my little sidekick. You can grill her.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I
Since she's 3 years into it, and
I think
started at community college, doing a project.
Is she outgoing like that? Like, is she?
Yeah, she'd be down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, hook me up with the guy from the college and Sarah. I'd love to talk to them both. Yeah. And at some point, I wouldn't even mind sitting down with like Ernie.
Ernie or Wooten down here.
I don't know who Wooten is.
He's one of the owners of Print Path.
Okay.
There's 3 owners: Matt Davis, David Wooten, Ernie Johnson. So.
Okay. Ernie is the only one I've ever heard of.
Yeah, he's the one that's loud.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, he started it, right? Like
they all 3 together did.
Together? No way. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So I think
the other 2 are more quiet and reserved.
Well, you said 2 of them were designers. Is that the 2 that are
David Wooten and Matt Davis?
They both design.
They design, set up files, and a lot of our big jobs for SME and Spevco, they handle.
The owners do. That's pretty cool. I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah, because they want it done right, and a lot of times if you don't do it yourself, it's not done right.
Right.
And so we typically go measure and template, and because if we measure and template, it falls on us if it's messed up.
Right. But a company that size, man, it's hard to have that mentality because y'all got so many people doing stuff. I mean, I guess it's a difference between sewing a banner and laying out, 1,000 square foot worth of graphics. You got to make sure that it's precise. But yeah, no, I'd love to have Ernie on. I don't think we've ever had any type of length of conversation really, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. I think
he's got plenty of stories. I'm
sure he does. Most of those guys do. So, all right, cool. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. We'll do it again. Sounds good. Fun. Caitlin, we good? Yeah, we got everything we need. All Let's go.